Hello, good afternoon. Well, hopefully we'll get away with a dry race in Silverstone. Having said that, there are a few showers dotted around. One or two of these might drift across the track, but we're crossing our fingers we'll get away with sunny spells and a high of 19 or 66 in Fahrenheit.
The action now with live coverage of the British Grand Prix, live from Silverstone. Murray Walker's feeling emotional, and Michael Schumacher is thinking of that key number, 51.
With Texaco.
It's an emotional day for Murray. The Grand Prix is always the high spot of the British motor racing year. This is taking things a bit far, though. Welcome to the top of the hoist, location of one of 35 cameras covering the event. This thing's capable of lifting you over 200 feet into the skies above Silverstone. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to join me up here. All you have to do is settle back and enjoy the view from the best seat in the house. It is the British Grand Prix on ITV. Crowds flocking into Silverstone on race day, just under an hour to go to the start of the British Grand Prix. It's a sellout, over 90,000 inside. Everybody wondering what the weather is going to do. You pays your money, you take your choice at the moment. There's a fair bit of blue around, some very dark, heavy stuff hanging over Silverstone at this moment. And those showers could arrive. Who knows? A sellout, though, Silverstone, to see if Michael Schumacher can emulate Alain Prost's all-time record, 51 victories. David Coulthard, he's gone quickest in this morning's warm-up, 31 points behind. He remains the prime challenger. Barrichello's Ferrari is going better than Ralf Schumacher's Williams, and Montoya making the top 10 in his first British Grand Prix. Quite glad to be back at ground level in the ITV studio. Here we are, the Royal Automobile Club trophy for the winner of the Grand Prix. And just looking down, the name etched there, 99 Coulthard, 2000 Coulthard. Tony Jardine and Mark Blundell with me. You think Coulthard might win here, but you don't fancy him for that world title very much, do you?
Unfortunately, I think it's just slipping away from him. I think Schumacher and Ferrari are way too strong at the moment. I know Teacher's got his other views on it, but I'm just being a realist. I just unfortunately think it's going to slip away, but I want DC to win today.
I just go on the twists in the sport, and last year Schumacher lost 3 on the trot engine, then 2 crashes, and he needs that sort of thing to get back in. But a racing driver and a team never say die, they never give up. They're always in there, and that's what they've got to do. But DC does need to win today.
So 70 points still available for the winners of the last 7 races. If we look back to qualifying, we were all a bit upset that it took over 20 minutes for the cars to go out. But Mark, when Mika Häkkinen went out, he moved pretty well for a guy allegedly retiring.
Well, I mean, retiring. He's not retiring, this guy. Look at him go. I mean, impressive performance. McLaren are back up the front end of the grid where they belong. Race pace is going to be ideal for them today. I think it's going to really suit their car.
And the McLaren's going really well. All eyes are on David Coulthard. He starts from the second row, Tony.
Hasn't won since Austria, but the car is feeling better and better. I think they're much more settled now after the Newey situation. Bridgestone have brought some new tyres here. The car is much stronger in race trim, so he's looking forward to the event. He's not worried that he's on the second row. Michael
Schumacher, just one win here in 9 races. His first Silverstone pole, though, this year.
Yeah, first pole for Michael at Silverstone, and an impressive pole as well. He really did put on a sterling performance. I mean, the lap time he did was incredible. I mean, I was absolutely gobsmacked when that turned the clock. And he is going to be the man today for me. I think he's going to be very difficult to beat. Schumacher, Ferrari will go on and win the championship. That's my deal.
Okay, 1:20.4, that pole time for Michael Schumacher. Tony, just take us through the grid.
Well, as you said, I mean, it is his first pole here at Silverstone, the 8th pole of the year for him, but Hakkinen was pleased to be near the front and nearly get that pole position. Very comfortable with the car. Coulthard in good shape for the race, we hope. And Trulli and his Jordan teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen, 4th and 5th. The local team, very pleased with that performance. Barrichello in 6th, suffered with traffic. Raikkonen ahead of his teammate Heidfeld, and Montoya ahead of Ralf Schumacher, both not getting the best out of their cars. Michelin tyres not working that well here for them. Panis is ahead of his teammate Villeneuve, didn't get the best out of their car, the BAR Honda either. De La Rosa, new aero package on the Jaguar, he said it's working. Alesi says they're working well on their Prost car. Irvine happy to be closer to the Williams, he said they're our yardstick because they're also on Michelin tyres. Then Verstappen, but not that pleased with his performance, but happy to out-qualify his teammate Giancarlo Fisichella, 18th and 19th. Bernaldi there, the Brazilian. Alonso and Marquez failed to qualify outside the 107% rule, so just 21 starters.
That half an hour was very interesting. I think looking at our team, how they did it perfectly. We were able to run all the 4 tyres. Nobody didn't panic, everybody was relaxed. We did what we planned, and it was really fabulous, really good job, you know. Shame we didn't get the pole position, but next time.
It was only half an hour. We tried to get in 4 runs. We tried to adapt the car, so it was a bit of rushing through, honestly. The monitors started to fail. We didn't have lap times anymore, so we didn't have an idea where we were in terms of sector times. So it was a pretty difficult situation.
Our race performance is stronger, so we will be a lot closer, but it's such an advantage, I think, to have the track position, and it really depends on what happens on how Michael's tyres work and his stints to see whether we can gain the advantage at the pit stop. Unlikely to overtake him just in a straight battle on the track unless he has a big problem.
That was David Coulthard talking after qualifying. Here he is live doing his stretches as well. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Jim. Well, less than an hour to go to the start of the race, and we've been granted a very unusual audience here. We're backstage, if you like, before the curtain call. Thank you for talking to us, David. What we really want to know is, well, I mean, we see you guys on the grid, and of course we see you out on the racetrack. What goes on in the build-up? I mean, I've seen you signing autographs and just busy. Looks like you're too busy to me.
Well, obviously the British Grand Prix, there's a lot more goes on than at the French Grand Prix, for instance. We've had Paddock Club appearances for the sponsors. We've always had our all-important strategy meeting, which went on a bit longer because of the importance of just trying to make sure we cover all the scenarios. And normally I'd be upstairs here in the back of the motorhome. I'd probably lie down for 10 minutes, but we've missed that opportunity today, so I'm just getting some stretching done, ready for the race.
So would you manage to ever literally fall asleep? Can you do that? Are you able to do that with such an important race so close?
Yeah, I think, you sort of 10-minute catnap, then normally before qualifying I do that, normally before the race as well. Your mind's obviously active, thinking about the start, thinking about setup, things like that, but you do doze off for a few moments, and I think it's good just to recharge the batteries.
Now, are you sitting and thinking, right, I wonder what Schumacher's doing today with strategy? Will Mika help me out if I need him to in the championship? Do you bother your mind with that?
Yeah, of course you do. Ultimately you have to do the best job with the information you have with your own car and work the strategy that you believe to be the best given the tyre wear and the fuel effect. But you do want to try and have a basic understanding of what Michael might do. Obviously I know what pit stop Mika's going to go for, planned, and we know what strategy we're going to run as a team in terms of trying to give the team the best chance of fighting for the championship.
So what do you think your chances are of making it hat-trick today?
I think they're not too bad. The car was quick in the warm-up. As we've seen all year, Ferrari have had an advantage in qualifying that we haven't quite been so strong in that area. In the race, it comes down to track position. Ferrari hold that at the moment, but we've got pit stops to try and see whether we can gain the position.
All right, well, we don't want to hold you up any more from your stretching. Thanks for talking to us at a crucial time of the afternoon. Back to you, Jim.
Well done indeed, Martin. And Martin's grid walk, of course, coming up in half an hour's time. A real privileged bit of access, that, with David Coulthard. I mean, certain drivers like Jacques Villeneuve, they won't talk to you for a couple of hours before the race, I don't think. Does that surprise you, David, doing that with less than an hour to go?
Well, I think he's just relaxed at the moment, but you know, give it another 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so, then he's going to start to get the butterflies. And believe me, you do get butterflies. All Grand Prix drivers, no matter whether they're new or the experienced guys, they get nervous before a Grand Prix.
What were you like? Did you bite a few heads off in the closing moments before a race?
Yes, he did.
I could be a little bit.
You normally do.
Yeah, you know, it gets to you. I mean, but all the excitement, all the pressure. But when you get on that grid, everything calms down and you slow the whole thing down in your mind. Off you go.
Okay, thanks very much. There's a lot to come before the start of the British Grand Prix. Some great Murray moments and Murray memories. We'll have a word with Ross Kemp, working in that Jordan pit this afternoon. A couple of surprise guests are going to be popping in to see us as well. But now let's focus on Michael Schumacher. What an astonishing season he's been having. 3 times world champion, massive odds on, despite Tony Jardine for his 4th crown on pole again this afternoon. Half a dozen wins this season, 3 second places, 50 Grand Prix victories. Schumacher's Ferrari looming in the mirrors of record holder Alain Prost. James Allen reports.
Some drivers race for their place in the history books. Others go from season to season just trying to beat the best. Michael Schumacher has never had an eye for history, but this weekend offers him a date with destiny as he seeks to take a record which Prost has held for 14 years. The Frenchman is philosophical about it.
If you can judge, obviously he's one of the best. I would never say this one, even Ayrton or me or Fangio, or you cannot say he was the best, or some people say that, but I would never say that. As soon as you arrive Formula 1, it was very quick, he's very clever, and the most impressive thing is he has managed to get a situation at Ferrari where he can do his job in a very special ambience, atmosphere, special team.
Alan, do you remember how you felt when you won your 51st Grand Prix?
For me, when I won the 51 Grand Prix, it didn't make a difference because I was already holding the record. Obviously, when I won, when I've beaten Jacques' record in Estoril 87, when I beat his 27 wins record, then I felt really, was really something, you know, really proud. When you're holding the record and you're 48, 49, 50, 51, it doesn't make a difference except that you're winning another race.
You've obviously watched Michael Schumacher getting closer and closer to the record over the last few years. How do you feel about that?
Very honestly, when I retired, this kind of record, I thought it would be beaten by Ayrton very quickly, about maybe 2 or 3 years later. Maybe 1 year, you never know, but he had 41 wins, so the fact that Michael is getting very close to beat him is, I was almost already prepared. I mean, I stopped 8, 9 years ago, I even don't remember. So it's a long time already. I hold the record for about 13, 14 years, I don't know, which is already good. The way I feel, I don't know, because it doesn't change my life very much, except I am a little bit more busy on the rest weekend, and because everybody asks the question. I can see that as a package again. I am part of the history of Formula 1, being first, second, third. When you retire, it's not as important, but it would have been good to keep this record forever. The most important is to be still there, to look at this kind of record being beaten.
Yes.
Especially when you have raced for 20 years in motor racing.
Yeah. He's still there, he's looking pretty good on it as well. Alain Prost's old McLaren team in good shape with Coulthard and Hakkinen second and third on the grid. The Red Arrows strutting their stuff above Silverstone with 3/4 of an hour to go to the start of the British Grand Prix. David Coulthard, who we just spoke to live, trying to become the second British driver to win the home Grand Prix 3 times on the trot. Jim Clark, he won 4 on the bounce back in the 60s. Just wondering how much help David will get on the way. Louise Goodman reporting.
With David Coulthard's future at McLaren looking ever more secure, the question now is, will Mika Häkkinen help the Scot in his championship battle against Michael Schumacher? There's no reason not to, according to David.
He has 9 points from the beginning of the year, so he must be a little bit frustrated. But I don't believe he's demotivated. Clearly, championship for him is over, and that's not possible. So his motivation has got to be to try and win Grand Prix and hopefully help me if I have a situation where I could benefit from a win.
It's a situation where we work on a team and we look at the situation what it is, and we make a decision together what is ideal at the time. Obviously, I never won a British Grand Prix in my career. I won a World Championship twice, won a lot of races, but I never won this one. So I would like to win it, but obviously there is at the moment situation where I'm racing to win, flat out. That's the target. So I'm gonna go flat out.
Whether flat out means letting David through will soon be known, but both will have to get a good start. Coulthard will certainly be the crowd favourite. They're even mentioning his name on Coronation Street these days.
Jack, what happened? He didn't look. He just stepped out in front of me.
I did, Luke. You driving around like David claimed Coulthard.
But despite the accolades, David sometimes feels less than adored.
You know what's funny about the British people in comparison to other nationalities? At Goodwood at the weekend, there was a couple of guys, Brits shouting, "Go on, DC, go and kick arse this weekend." And there was a couple of other English guys shouting, "Go on, DC, go and get your arse kicked again this weekend." So, you know, we seem very sort of divided in our loyalties. You know, maybe they're Ferrari drivers or something, but the British side of it doesn't seem to be as, you know, we don't seem such a nationalistic country as I thought. You know, I don't walk around thinking, God, I need the support of the people, and that's what's going to make me win races. You know, I don't need that sort of Mansell type support. You know, the fact is, any Grand Prix is important. There's 10 points available for any race. Yes, it's nice to race at home. Yes, it's nice to see the British flags out there. But if there were none, it isn't going to demotivate me. And if there's a sea of them, then it might make me feel pretty good. But when I'm in the car, I can't see them.
What really motivates the man is the prospect of a championship victory, and a Silverstone hat-trick would certainly help his cause.
Listening to the McLaren team boss Ron Dennis the other day, he said he's only issued team orders 3 times in the last 15 years. Would you expect him to make it 4?
Well, I would expect key people to make strategic decisions, especially as BMW Williams are further back down, and they won't get in the way, we don't think. And therefore, Häkkinen should remember when Coulthard helped him in 97 and 98. He's only got 9 points, you know, and David's up there with 47, still 31 behind. It's now time for team orders. I hope Ron is going to talk down the airwaves and say, Mika, move over, son.
OK, well, he's had a little mention on the street, David, but he seems a bit ambivalent about the support he might get from the home crowd. How important is that? I mean, you've driven here in front of a British home crowd. How much does it lift you?
It is a big boost. I mean, just as I say, you come through these gates and it is an instant boost. But as DC says, once you're in the car, you don't see anybody, you don't feel it in that way. But you don't need to feel it. It's there continuously. And he will be thriving off it. But, you know, I feel for him a little bit. You've always got that party who are with you, and then you've got the other party who are not with you. You know, and they may be cheering for somebody else, they may be cheering for a different nationality guy, but 99.9% of the time, you're always behind your fellow guy.
But you can't even see them, can you, from where you're sitting in the car?
No, you can't see them, but you can feel it, Jim. It's there. You've only got to look around. The atmosphere, the flags waving, you know, and believe me, over the noise of that engine, you can still hear them roar.
He still smells the sausages from the barbecues. Oh, he smells.
OK, flags waving. Quite a few banners as well. Fantastic response we had for the best Murray Walker-themed banner competition. A little bit of fun we're having here at Silverstone, and goodness me, you have done really well with those banners. There's only one Murray Walker, so say all of us, and this one is the winner, the saddest retirement of any Grand Prix. The winner yesterday, John Clark from Salisbury in Wiltshire. Very well done with that one. We're going to have another winner here today. The RAF Falcons, they dropped in to wish Murray all the best yesterday. Murray's been coming here since the late 1940s, and he's compiled a snapshot of his own special memories.
Silverstone is very special to British motorsport and to me, because it's the home of the British Grand Prix and the British Racing Drivers Club, and it's where I gave my first ever commentary at the 1949 race. There have been some fabulous events here, including the first ever Formula One race in 1950, where the awesome Alfa Romeos ruled the roost and the Italian driver Giuseppe Farina won. But the next year, they were beaten by Ferrari. 1960 saw an incredible comeback by Graham Hill, who started last in his BRM, but fought his way up to leader Jack Brabham and passed him, only to spin out with just 6 laps to go. But typically, Graham stayed to applaud his friend to victory. In the 1960s, the British Grand Prix was dominated by the great Jim Clark, who won 5 times in 6 years. In 1965, in a sick Lotus, he beat Graham Hill's BRM by a mere 3 seconds. Jim Clark, one of the greatest of all time. 1969 saw a spine-tinkling battle for virtually the whole race between Jackie Stewart's Matra and Jochen Rindt's Lotus, which Jackie won when Rindt retired. There have been some great British wins at Silverstone, especially John Watson's for McLaren in 1981, which had the crowd on its feet.
And the British Grand Prix has been won by a British car with a British driver.
For me, though, the greatest ever victory at Silverstone was Nigel Mansell's for Williams Honda in 1987. After a 20-second stop, he battled with his hated teammate Nelson Piquet, took the lead at Stowe Corner with a sensational passing move and won.
Mansell has won the British Grand Prix.
In 1993, Damon Hill led, only to retire. But in 1994, he won the race his father never had with a superb victory for Williams.
I don't know quite why it happened, but I mean, it's just a dream come true that I've won the British Grand Prix. And I feel like that has completed the little hole that my father left in his record. And I'm sure that he'll be delighted, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and I really don't know what more to say.
And it was another British win in 1995 for Johnny Herbert. But the race will always be remembered for another reason.
Oh, what's happened? Damon's lost it. It's Schumacher. They're both off. They're both out.
Damon Hill had tried to pass race leader Michael Schumacher with an impossible move, which finished their race in the gravel. The most unusual victory of all, though, was Michael Schumacher's in 1998. For thanks to clever exploitation of the rules, he won while stationary in the pit lane taking a time penalty. Even he wasn't sure if he'd won. Schumacher crashed and broke his leg in the 1999 race, and Britain's David Coulthard won for McLaren, as he did last year.
David Coulthard wins the British Grand Prix.
David is Britain's only hope for the World Championship this year, so fingers crossed for a Coulthard hat-trick.
Thanks, Murray. More Murray memories coming up. This fella might have something to say about David Coulthard hat-trick. He's on pole. Not in that little beauty, though. Michael Schumacher. That car produced Ferrari's first World Championship win here 50 years ago, driven by the Argentine, the old Pampas bull, Froilan Gonzalez. Bernie Eccleston owns that little motor, by the way. He will listen to offers in the region of £4 million for it. And Michael Schumacher just sampling a touch of Silverstone, and the sellout crowd. Still lovely weather here, enjoying every moment on it. Well, 7 of the 11 teams here are British. It's a day out for those hidden toilers in the factories. Silverstone's going to change dramatically in the next couple of years. Let's sample the present version. Heinz Harold Frentzen put the Jordan on the front row last year. And here's Martin Brundle once again to talk you round.
Looking over Heinz Harold Frentzen's left shoulder as we head down the pit straight towards Copse, 185 miles an hour, down just 1 gear. Look for the tiny curve on the exit and away towards Maggots. A left-hand curve into Beckett's corner. Look at this for commitment. Just a little blending of the left foot brake, no lifting of the throttle, now into the second and third part, around 120 miles an hour. Full throttle as you head into the Hangers straight. Diagonal that to be on the left-hand side, ready for the Stowe corner, 190 miles an hour. Look how damp and greasy the track is offline, but still full commitment for Frentzen. 145, a little bit of a correction through the middle. Now heading down towards Vale, over the slight crest, brake hard, down into second gear, just 55 miles an hour. Feed the car into club, a little bit tighter initially, then it opens up before your very eyes and 160 miles an hour. Before the exit, rising gently uphill. Get ready for the Abbey chicane, 185 miles an hour on the way in. Brake and come down 5 gears to just 70 on the way through. Car working hard on the curbs. You're looking at Bridge, 165 miles an hour in the heart, and immediately to the right for Priory, 105 through the middle. A short squirt down to Brooklands. Just 60 now through the apex. Neat and tidy there for the Jordan, and launch into Luffield. A long, clumsy, boring right-hander. Just 70 on the way through. Now you can get on the power, and immediately building up already to 170 miles an hour as you go over the line.
You had an eventful British Grand Prix round here once, didn't you?
Yeah, 1995, when I was with McLaren, actually. That was my last Silverstone Grand Prix, but I crossed the line on 3 wheels. I got attacked by Rubens Barrichello behind, but finished 5th, so, you know, we had a good day. It tends to get a bit windy around here, and it's the fiddly bits that the drivers don't like. Yeah, the infield complex is a little bit tricky for them, especially if the conditions get wet, but there's some challenging corners around here. Beckett's is big track stuff, you know. And lots of developments to upgrade the whole circuit, Tony.
Yeah, well, Bernie Ecclestone described Silverstone as like being an old Victorian house which has to be patched up all the time, but a lot of money has been expended, more than any other track over the last 10 years, and they're aiming to make it a centre of excellence, have it all finished by 2003. If they get their way, over 90 million will be spent on it, and you see work has started.
Thank you, Tony. The RAF Red Arrows continue to entertain. Just over half an hour to go to the start at Silverstone. It remains dry. Let's join Beverly Turner, ducking and diving over there, and finding 1 or 2 celebrities for us.
Okay. Switch over, McDonald. We've got the red arrows overhead. There are camera crews everywhere, car engines revving. What do you make of all this?
Fantastic atmosphere. Can't be better. And lovely weather, too.
And you look like you're the most important man here. You've got more passes on than anyone I've seen.
I'm not the most important man, so I need them all.
Who do you hope's going to win today?
David Coulthard.
Yeah, you were rooting for the Brits today, aren't we?
I'm rooting for Brits because this is a wonderful atmosphere. It's our race course, and we should have a British winner.
Great. Go get some earplugs in and enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Let's hope he's right. He'll be used to a little bit of noise in his ears. Well, Sir Trevor and Beverly's also been sampling the Grand Prix contrasts around the campsites and the ball, and we will catch that after the race. Everyone in Formula One has their favourite Murray Walker quote. Here's a couple of British driving stars.
Mansell is slowing down. He's taking it easy. No, it's a new lap record.
Murray said the line, and Mansell can see him in his ear. I think he meant his mirror.
And this will be Williams' first win since last time a Williams won.
I hear Ferrari are not going to develop the car anymore this year.
How do you know that, Murray?
Because I was there when I said it.
Ross Brawn and Ferrari team coordinator Nigel Stepney joining the Murray impressionists. Well, let me introduce you now to a couple of young men. Very talented they are as well. They've got their own primetime Saturday night show, and they like their F1.
I'm Grim Rosenthal, and next to me in the commentary box today I've got Murray Baby Walker.
And hello, Grim!
Can you join us here on the starting grid?
And this is unbelievable!
What is, Murray, the atmosphere?
No, my trousers are far too tight!
I'm not happy, Dec.
Do him!
I mean, I'm deep down, I'm a sensitive sort of human being.
Have I gone really red? Oh dear.
I mean, you've stretched it pretty far there. I mean, what I'm really, really upset about, genuinely, deeply upset, is that you got my hairstyle wrong.
Well, I said this to them, but they wouldn't listen to me. I said, Jim's got much better hair than that.
You designed the costume, what are you talking about?
And it was your idea, apparently.
Yes,
don't blame it on me.
I absolutely second that.
Oh, it was great fun.
But the actual school to win here this afternoon?
It looks like that, but you know, I've got my fingers crossed for David Coulthard as well. Hopefully he's going to do very well.
You've been studying the form book a bit, Ant, haven't you?
Well, you know, we've been talking out in the paddock there, and we've been saying if it stays sunny, Coulthard's very good, but if it turns wet, then Schumacher's always good in the wet.
Is he now?
He is indeed.
Thanks for that.
Well, we're just about done here. I know you've got a new series coming up next year. I'll just say one thing to you. Sort that makeup out, will you? All right?
Oh, well, you took it in good spirits. Cheers, Jim.
Grim Rosenthal, what a diabolical liberty that is. It's not preschool Macca, it's the real man. Michael, with 25 minutes to go, out on track. Back to Beverly Turner. She has moved from the newsroom to the acting world.
Robson Green, great to see you. We're here in the mayhem of the pits. What do you make of all this?
Well, it's great. I'm just looking forward to the race. I hope it's going to be really exciting. I do hope it rains, so it makes it exciting for us. And I hope Coulthard wins, because I think it'll keep the championship alive for everybody.
Are you an F1 fan?
Yeah, since I was about 4. Unfortunately, as a family, we couldn't afford much of a car. We had an Hillman Imp for 9 years. But yeah, it's big scale electrics to me, this.
Fancy going one of these, do you?
I also actually had a chance 2 years ago to go in the 2-seater McLaren, but I was working, and David Litterman, my boss, wouldn't let me off.
Who's here today and watching from the sidelines. So have a great day, enjoy yourself, and get shouting for Coulthard.
Thanks very much. See you.
Well, no one closer than Silverstone than the Jordan team base, right across the road from the main entrance, and they need a mid-season boost. It could happen today as well if their qualifying performance is anything to go by.
Jarno Trulli and Heinz Harald Frentzen were mixing it with the big boys yesterday. They turned in the team's best qualifying performance of the season at Jordan's home Grand Prix.
It's a very special place for us. As I say, our factory is less than 100 yards from the store here, and gives everyone that little moral boost, because God knows we needed it this year. It's been a little bit disappointing.
But while Eddie was enjoying the moment, his drivers were obviously determined not to get carried away.
We haven't developed the car very much, but for sure we need to work very hard, because we can see our car is pretty competitive, especially in a qualifying condition. We just have to work very hard for the race.
It's no secret that we are eating the tires, especially the rear tires, more than the teams like McLaren and Ferrari. We seem to be very strong in qualifying and closer to them than we are in the race. We lose relatively time to them in the race, and that's where we have to look for.
So is there a chance that you will be going backwards rather than forwards then?
Well, I don't think a lot more backwards, but certainly it will be difficult to overtake a McLaren and a Ferrari in the race. And I think we have a great chance here to finish on in the points, or maybe as well on the podium, yeah.
Talk more about Jordan in a moment. There is James Allen poised to deliver on race strategy. James.
Well, Jim, some races it's clear as mud exactly what you want to do on race strategy, and I think it's going to be one of those this afternoon. It's a one stop or two stop, and a lot of it has to do with tyre wear. These things right here, let's take a look at them. This is the new Bridgestone tyre. McLaren and Ferrari are using it, and it's been wearing pretty well over the weekend, but one stop wears those tyres down quite quickly. You can see here the McLaren team getting ready. I think that Ferrari are going to go off on two stops today. The big risk of two stops is that if you re-emerge into traffic after one of your stops, you could be in big trouble. One stop is the other alternative. We might see the Jordans do that, possibly one of the two McLarens as well. Michael Schumacher at the front then on a two. Other front runners doing one stop. A real mixture this afternoon. Could be really thrilling, but what we might see is, for the first time, McLaren acting tactically, whereby Häkkinen helps Coulthard. Could be really exciting.
Thank you, James. Sir Jackie Stewart, congratulations on that, by the way. He's here. Mika Häkkinen. He's never won round this place, and he starts on the front row. Tony Giardi, let's have a little word about the Jordans, who went so well. Their best session of the year, I think it was in qualifying, but they've had a very disappointing season so far.
Well, each of the drivers, they've had a 4th place each, and they've had 5th places. And on the back of Jarno's 5th place in France, I think they've had quite a boost. Those drivers work very well together. But one of the key things is there's a lot of momentum at the factory. There's a lot going on, especially investment. Eddie's been criticised in the past for not putting enough money into the team. He's building this whole new factory, great infrastructure. The team are now making headway.
started here in a lock-up garage, didn't he?
He did. I mean, I worked with him in Formula 3000 days, and Marky remembers in Formula 3 with him arguing and shouting and having team managers by the throat up against garage walls, and me asking him for checks and things. No, the guy was £3 million in debt. He's now something like £60 million to the good.
I think he's eased into the black, it's fair to say. Let's talk about David Coulthard. He's gone quickest in warm-up this morning. I mean, how relevant is that warm-up session, half hour on race day?
It is relevant. I mean, this is a situation where you go out on full tanks, you go with tyres that you've run, you check them out, make sure they're in balance. But, you know, he's quickest, yeah, that's good. But Schumacher, Ferrari, they sandbag, and sometimes it shows up in the race.
And he will want it to stay dry, and it looks as though we just might avoid the rain at the moment.
We might avoid the rain, but I think I'm with Robson Green. I think I'd like a little shower just to liven things up in the mid-race.
OK, then it's not long to go now before Murray Walker's last race commentary here at Silverstone. And above all, Murray has been a great entertainer. He's given fantastic value over the years.
Hello, I'm Murray Walker.
I don't believe it. Here's Martin with a...
Yeah, looks like watching ITV or something.
Shovel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go, go, go. 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 Go, 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 and go. Now.
Jock and Rid takes the lead in the Parabolica on the last corner, on the last lap. And it's going to be a Fritz match for the win. It must be. It's over the line together. And it's almost a dead heat. It's Jackie Stewart.
As they go up the hill for the third time. Brian Gosling absolutely steering form, who won as big in the hill and looks as though he's going to do the same here. Prix first, Prix
Here in the middle of France for round 8 of the World Championship. We're at Magny-Cours in the middle of France, you know, just in the centre there. Nigel, nice to see you.
And look at that! Out that, and colossally, that's Mansell. Mansell finishes, and he's world champion.
Damon Hill, world champion. What about that?
It's just so fantastic. I can't tell you, Murray. I was driving along and I could hear you in my head.
And Damon Hill exits the chicane and wins the Japanese Grand Prix. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat.
OK, Martin, but do you want the job or not? Because, you know, we can't go on like this forever. It's a pretty serious matter.
Wow, that's one of the Jordans. And miracle of miracles. Oh, that's Hakkinen spinning. Hakkinen, the race leader. He's out of the race. He's out of the race. After the misery of Belgium is consumed with rage. And the Tifosi are consumed with delight. But a brilliant race for Michael Schumacher to win the 2000 Japanese Grand Prix and the World Championship for the third time. And look, he knows it. Oh, God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner, but what has happened to Prost? He has gone off too.
Now, test drivers know better than anybody the problems of driving under tough conditions because that's their job.
Just like it's like being in a catapult. Like I imagine being in a catapult. You just go wham! Oh, come on, sorry. Mika Hakkinen collides and into the tyres.
I've done that. You'll love it. It's fantastic. Now, you were in the points here for Benetton last year. What's the new Nürburgring? Jordan, or even Jordan.
Looks through a completely clean windscreen, and that's the big advantage, of course, of being in front. And that's the big disadvantage of getting your line wrong.
Pardon?
Now, for real spectacular driving, watch this. And nearly, that's it. There's a big body job to be done.
It's the most stimulating, exciting, rewarding, dramatic, innovating experience I have ever had in my life. Fabulous.
And a fabulous life as well, Murray. Formula One needs you. The banner competition rages on. We'll give you the results and show you a few more of them, and so say all of us. Sorry to see you go, go, go. He's not going quite yet. He'll keep him crafting until the end of the season. Just to remind you, this is last British Grand Prix commentary. Best wishes. Commentating is one thing. Murray retiring is quite another. And as I say, we'll keep an eye on those banners and we'll show you the very best ones after the race. Could be an interesting race down there in that Jordan garage for you, Ross Kemp. How are you doing?
Rather nervous, Jim, as you can probably imagine. Terribly excited at the same time. The atmosphere down here is incredible. As you see,
well, they
there goes Schumacher. There we go.
Yeah,
it happens every day to me, of course.
He normally drives on your foot, doesn't he, Michael Schumacher? Now, we talked to you yesterday. We know you're obviously part of the pit crew, but we weren't exactly sure what role you'll be playing. Could you help us with that?
What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the fuel guard that prevents, hopefully, the petrol igniting on the exhaust. The exhaust gets so hot, they can ignite the petrol just through the fumes and then take up what's in the engine. So it looks like I'm cleaning a swimming pool, but actually I'm not.
And we'll see the full thing in a couple of weeks' time at Hockenheim. But do you expect your old ticker to be racing a bit when the Jordans, Frenson and Trulli come your way for those stops?
Well, very kindly, they've put a heart monitor on me, so we'll be recording how much my heart rate goes up. But at the moment, I think I'm running a marathon at the moment. I'm near 100 already, and I'm standing still.
And this is the big day, just to remind you, you've had a few sort of harsh lights in your face over the years, but no going back now.
No. I live and die by it. Eddie's threatened to shoot me if I mess up, but so I'm definitely not going to try and mess up anyway.
Hey, listen, you have a very good day, and we look forward to seeing the complete story in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks very much, Jim, and thanks everyone at ITV. Thank you.
Cheers, Ross. Thanks for joining us. There we are, just under a quarter of an hour to go, and the British Grand Prix will be underway. Just peeping around outside our commentary box. There's more blue in the sky now. And just get the feeling we might have a dry race, although a little bit of rain always does spark things up. We've heard from Ross on the grid. Let's hear from Martin Brundle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the grid at Silverstone. Right, what do you want to know? Let's find out if we can understand why the Jordans are going so well today. Eddie Jordan being congratulated already by the wife of Ron Dennis, the boss of McLaren. But, yeah, it was indeed Eddie. And this is all terribly nice, isn't it? We just happen to be live to a few million people at the moment. There's no chance of a quick chat, is there? Yeah, OK. Can we just butt in, Lisa? Do you mind? Ed, we're sort of quite interested to know, other than you organising a few trips, why are your cars so fast this weekend?
Because, Martin, maybe you're not driving them anymore, I suppose.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, you've been saving that for a long time.
No, I think really we had the potential has been there, but Eggball and his aerodynamic people have been doing some little bits and pieces, and we saw a bit of an upward trend in France. It's carried on to here. We had a good test. We had a good test in the wet here on Friday, and then, of course, yesterday in the qualifying it was quite good. Fingers crossed. Let's hope we have both cars finished. That'll be what I want.
All right, Trulli was quick this morning. Can he cut the mustard today?
Honestly, I think he can. And we were surprised, I have to tell you. And we won't talk about fuel because it'll be very obvious, very evident at an early part of the race as to what we were doing. So fingers crossed, I think Jarno was right on the case.
All right, mate, and don't forget, I have always got the last word on you, so I'll get you back for that. See you later. Let's head off. John Todt. John, your chances today with Ferrari?
Well, it will be tough, as usual, but we will try hard.
So the McLarens look very fast in the warm-up this morning.
Well, they're always very fast, not only this morning, so we will try to be faster.
I don't think your man will be too intimidated with two McLarens just around him, though.
Well, he is used to, but, I mean, we are not, I would not say in a comfortable position, but at least we have some advantage in the championship, so we don't need to win at any cost.
OK, that's an interesting one. Don't need to win at any cost. So does that mean Michael is going to be calm today? makes you wonder who all these people are on the grid, doesn't it? I've often said that. And let's do a Marty's random person, because I don't know if this guy speaks English. Do you speak English?
Yes, just a little bit. I'm French.
You're French, okay. We're just doing a random person, because I've always wondered who all the people are on the grid. Who are you? Who are you with?
I'm Cédric Voisard, and I'm working for Le Figaro, the daily newspaper in France.
So you're a journalist? You're a journalist?
Yes.
Who do you think's going to win?
Sorry?
Who do you think's going to win?
Maybe Mika. That could be great for him.
Do you think so? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think so. There's a lot of support here for Mika today, and there's a face you might recognise. Damon Hill, of course, Paul Stewart. Damon, sorry to interrupt, it's a bit rude of me, but quick word for a few million of our mates here.
Well, I've always wondered what people did on the grid during race, and I thought, so I'll have a look and do it myself, and I don't know why I'm here, but it's very exciting.
Well, who have you met? I mean, have you met any famous people?
Well, I met you, and there's Paul here. No, it's too, you know, it's just mad. I mean, there's people trying to race here, and all these things, famous people turning up.
We just had a quick word with one of them. It's just amazing, but can't you afford a pair of scissors or something? What's this new hairdo? Is that for the Conrad band or something?
It's not actually, it's attached to the hat. I'll take it off, it's not there anymore.
Right, I see, it's a wig, is it? Good to see you. We'll have one more wander down the front. So the McLarens then have got it all to do. They're very, very fast in the warm-up. Michael Schumacher under pressure here on pole position. He hasn't got the Williams between him and his contenders, and he hasn't got his teammate anywhere near to help him out. It's going to be a very exciting and very close race. Back to you in the studio.
Cheers, Martin. Thank you very much indeed. David Coulthard needing that home win. He's got to finish in front of Michael Schumacher, really, to preserve lingering hopes of a world title. How about Schumacher? Is he going to equal Alain Prost's record with victory number 51? What about Mika Häkkinen? The man from Le Figaro says he's going to win. Can he win in Britain at last? The yellow Jordans, Trulli, Frentzen, both looking tasty. What about Williams? Are they hiding something? Irvine and Button seek Silverstone inspiration. Stand by then for Murray Walker and the British Grand Prix.
Ralf Schumacher has been upstaged by the teenager Jenson Button, who is 20.
And that's Jenson Button in the top 10 in 11th position.
ganze Woche. Ja. Viel haben die Autos nicht abgedeckt, gell? Ja, aber 3 sind wir jetzt schon, BAR auch. Ah, prima. Ja.
It's Silverstone, it's mid-July, the right place and the right time for the British Grand Prix. James Allen and Louise Goodman will give you all the news from the pits in the commentary box. It's Martin Brundle and F1's top talker, Murray Walker.
And are you ready? Because this is the big one. I mean that very sincerely. Round 11 of the 2001 Formula One World Championship at Silverstone in currently glorious weather. This is the race that could decide this year's World Championship. If David Coulthard, who is currently 31 points behind Michael Schumacher, the reigning world champion, does not finish in front of the Ferrari here at Silverstone, he really is going to have a major job on his hands to be world champion this year. But all is not lost. David Coulthard has won here twice already, last year and the year before. And although McLaren have not exactly been away, they are really back with a bang now. Mika Häkkinen, the man who has disappointed so many of us so often this year, not so much through his problems as the cars, is 8 1/1000ths of a second slower than Michael Schumacher on the front row of the grid in second place. And David Coulthard, that double winner here, is right behind Michael Schumacher's Ferrari. But that is the man to watch. Jarno's Trulli in a rejuvenated Jordan Honda, the man who has deserved to win Grand Prix after Grand Prix, but has never actually made it onto the podium, could very much be there this year. The very likeable little Italian is getting better and better. He's fourth on the grid. He's less than half a second slower than Michael Schumacher, and his teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen is in fifth position. What about the Williams, I hear you asking, and that powerful BMW engine and the Michelin tyres? Not going so well here. Montoya, who I have been tipping for a win today, is 8th on the grid, and his teammate Ralf Schumacher is in 10th position just behind him. But it's, as ever, all going to depend on strategy, on tyres, who comes in when, and above all, whether it rains. You see above you blue skies and white clouds, but it was just as quick to go from this to rain in the past at Silverstone, and it could go the other way today. What do you think?
Some of the teams are talking about the chance of light rain during the course of the Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher then on pole position. I believe the McLarens have a slightly better launch control, the start mechanism they use where the drivers let the electronics take over for them and control their launch towards that first corner copse. An unusually fast first turn here at Silverstone, Murray. They're doing quite a speed when they get down there, well over 150 miles an hour, but at the end of the day, there's only really just enough room for one car on the racing line still. So Michael Schumacher then under attack from the McLarens. Can Häkkinen come into play today? Can there be some team riding, as they would be in Speedway parlance, such that Häkkinen can help David Coulthard in the World Championship? And will he want to?
Well, we'll soon know. But you know, that young Damon Hill looks more and more like George Harrison every day, doesn't he?
He does indeed, doesn't he?
I know it's got nothing to do with the race, but here we go. There we are, you see, those are the lights which are going to indicate that it's soon time for the formation lap to start. And we've seen some pretty dramatic happenings on the formation lap. In 1994, for instance, Michael Schumacher, who's currently in pole position, was second on the grid to Damon Hill. He passed Damon on the formation lap. They had another one, he did it again, and they said, that's enough. Black flag, during the race this was. And Michael Schumacher stayed out. He was in the Benetton. He came in, he took a penalty. A very, very exciting situation.
Coulthard deciding today to speak to absolutely nobody on the grid. He's not, as we saw when we were cut live to him, he's not really had that much of a chance to have a full preparation leading into this, a crucial Grand Prix for his championship chances and the future. So Coulthard then really needing to focus deeply. He could well do without two cars in front of him this afternoon, but boy, does his car look good this morning, Murray, in the warm-up.
Super. Track temperature 28 degrees. The formation lap starts. Martin, you've taken us round already, but do it again. It's a fantastic experience.
A nice high shot then for us to appreciate the high-speed nature of this Silverstone circuit, and that is Beckett's corner. Looks very smooth and easy, doesn't it, from this range? But certainly this corner, just talking to Gerhard Berger on the line from BMW, representing the Williams team, of course, associated with Williams, saying we can't get through there. It's high speed, and there's a direction change and a second direction change through that area. And they're losing 3/4 of a second before they arrive on their way down to Stowe. And something then around 150, 160 miles an hour they'll be doing at race speed. And there's quite a little crest there into Val. You can't see the corner, you have to brake just over the top of it. And Club, where you're always scrabbling around to try to get each and every one of your 800 horsepower transmitted, of course, just through the rear wheels down into the Silverstone tarmac and gently uphill to Abbey Chicane then, about 70 miles an hour on the way through here. And Schumacher bunching the pack up then. He does not want to get on the line and wait 40, 45 seconds before they finally finish lining up in places 21 and 22. A sprint there, trying to get some temperature into those rear tyres, and he'll jump on the brake pedal. You sometimes see him actually locking his front wheels on this lap, trying to generate some brake temperature, keep the front tyre temperatures and pressures where they need to be. He knows he's got to have a car that is working from metre 1 of lap 1, because those McLarens are gunning for him this afternoon. Luffield, a long, long right-hand corner. Formula 1 car's a bit fidgety through there, and you have to wait an eternity before you catapult out of there. And to stand and watch a Formula 1 car there is absolutely amazing. The true force and energy involved from the acceleration, the power-to-weight ratio really shows up there, Murray. And they're forming up then, heading towards the grid.
And remember the problems that McLaren have had with their launch control in recent races, where both David Coulthard and Mika Häkkinen have been left on the line. They'll have been working very hard on that. But watch also those yellow Jordans. In pole position, Michael Schumacher. Behind him, David Coulthard. Alongside him, on your left, is Mika Häkkinen. Behind Michael Schumacher, Coulthard. Behind Häkkinen is Jarno Trulli.
You can see Coulthard's intentions already. Look, Murray, he's got his car pointed in between Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher. He's hoping he can get some grip straight away and catapult between the pair of them. Bit ambitious there for Coulthard, and the tail enders are lining up.
Now, is Michael Schumacher going to make a good start and cut across the front of Mika Häkkinen? He's famous for that. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 laps. Pause. Go, go, go. And Schumacher gets away well. Trulli is up alongside and sprinting into the first corner. It's Schumacher leading, and Jarno Trulli is still 4th. Then off goes the VAR.
And Trulli hit Coulthard. Trulli hit Coulthard into the first corner. Did he go off? I can see a Jordan in the gravel trap. And that was a McLaren coming out of the pit lane. It must have been Coulthard. So look, Michael Schumacher then from Mika Häkkinen. And where did Coulthard go? Did he fully connect with the Jordan? I think he did.
Well, it's a Williams up in 3rd place, and out goes Jarno Trulli from the look of it. And you can see they're jostling for position at Stowe Corner, but it's a Williams up into 3rd position, and it looks like Juan Pablo Montoya it is, ahead of Barrichello in the Ferrari, who is 4th, and Ralf Schumacher is 5th, and out goes the VAR.
Panis is out then, so Trulli and Panis out, and I think Coulthard had a spin. I saw them just touch before they went out of camera shot. And Coulthard and Trulli getting together in turn 1. What a shame for this race. What a shame for Coulthard's World Championship chances.
Indeed it is, but Mika's on the boil. Look at him right behind Michael Schumacher, and Montoya in that very powerful Williams BMW in 3rd position. He's doing much better than he could have expected to. He's gained 5 places already, and we're still on the first lap. Coming towards the end of it, Schumacher leads, Häkkinen 2nd, Montoya going very wide in 3rd place, Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher, and Raikkonen is 6th.
And Coulthard, we believe, is coming in the pits this time around, so the contact must have been pretty heavy. Maybe he's got some suspension damage, and he goes past me now. Coulthard not pitting, but he is last but 1. Coulthard goes over the line in 18th because we've lost cars already in this Grand Prix. So David Coulthard then still on track, clearly 4 wheels all pointing in the right direction.
David Coulthard has got to pray now that something happens to take Michael Schumacher out of the race if his World Championship chances have not been destroyed already. Mika Häkkinen sitting in the wheel tracks of the Scarlet Ferrari. Now, what is the gap between Montoya and Häkkinen? The answer is 2.1 seconds at the end of the first lap. Be interesting to see whether he's closing up. Remember that the Ferrari and the McLaren are are both on Bridgestone tyres. Montoya is on Michelin's. Mika Häkkinen having a look. And the first three are breaking away from Rubens Barrichello, who is fourth.
We've got a two-horse race, I think, here, because Montoya, I do not believe, has got the car or the tyres underneath him. So these two are going to scamper off into the distance. We'll watch Coulthard with interest. We're hearing from the F1 ITV pit crew. Coulthard decided to stay out. The team are ready for him if he chooses to come in. They wonder if he's got some damage. We didn't see exactly how he went off, where he went off, but he emerged out of the pit lane, so I imagine he had a big spin towards the inside of Copse.
Yeah, and you know, the most interesting thing I've heard this afternoon, Martin, was when John Todt was talking to you on the grid, and he implied that Michael Schumacher did not necessarily have to win, that he might therefore be satisfied with something less than first place, provided it got him points, and provided it got him more points than David Coulthard. It's certainly doing that at the present moment. David Coulthard in 18th position of replay.
And here we go, we've missed the action up the front. That is Panis getting together what looked like with Villeneuve. I just caught the beginning of that. But, and Coulthard is indeed coming out of the pit lane, look, so he must have spun to the inside. Let's see if we can see it this time around again. That's Panis's little trip across the gravel. He will eventually get beached in the same gravel trap already is truly. Now let's have a look. Coulthard going around the outside of the Jordan understeering. Coulthard nipping him slightly, and yes, Coulthard spins, look, a long, graceful but critical spin to the inside of the racetrack, out of harm's way. Has it damaged Coulthard's rear suspension? It's clearly damaged Trulli's front suspension.
Yeah, and while he spun past him went Barrichello, Schumacher, Raikkonen, Heidfeld, Frenzener, Lacey, Villeneuve, Verstappen, De La Rosa, Button, Bernoldi, Irvine and Bertie, and David Coulthard is in 18th position, fighting his way through the field as Mika Häkkinen fights Michael Schumacher, who will, I am sure, know that David Coulthard, his chief World Championship rival, is out of the race. The Ferrari radio signals will have told him, and there's somebody else off.
Coulthard,
let's look. It's David Coulthard. David Coulthard's race is over. David Coulthard retires from the British Grand Prix on lap 4, and sadly I have to say it looks as though his World Championship chances have gone with it. Not impossible, but even more difficult.
That's going to be a right rear suspension failure then on Coulthard's car without doubt. And he was struggling around at the back. We heard he was definitely coming in that lap anyway. I'd be surprised if they could do anything about that damage, because it's quite significant to change a rear wishbone. But Coulthard then out of the race, and we're on lap 4.
Oh, what bitter gall for David Coulthard. This is race 11. He's finished in the points in every race except one this year, and that was the Canadian Grand Prix when his engine let him down.
And here we're watching Coulthard now. Oh yes, he's out of shape long before the corner look. So what would happen is one of the links on the rear suspension would break, and it starts turning the car from the rear, almost as if your steering wheel's connected to the rear wheels instead of the front. And Coulthard then couldn't make it back to the pits.
And McLaren have yet to have both drivers finish in a race this year, with Michael Schumacher now on lap 4 out of 60 in this British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Mika Häkkinen dogging his wheel tracks, but what a gap there is between them. It's 3.2 seconds now between Mika Häkkinen, who is in second place, and Juan Pablo Montoya, as Häkkinen goes for it. Häkkinen takes the lead on lap 5. Brilliant bit of driving.
I think Michael made a mistake. Michael got wide out of Copse, and I don't think he really wanted to fight too hard either. Remember what Jean Todt said to us on the start line, and Häkkinen positively moving away at a vast rate of knots. Let's try and understand what Schumacher did there. It looked as if he either just got a little wide on the exit of Copse, or just decided to yield and get Häkkinen out of his mirrors and concentrate on maximising the 6 points this afternoon. Michael Schumacher will already know, rest assured, that David Coulthard is out of this race.
Yeah, Michael, very much the thinking man's Formula One Grand Prix driver. He sized up the situation. He knows he doesn't have to win. He can get a minimum of 6 points more from David Coulthard if he stays where he is.
But I wouldn't have expected him to drop that far behind so quickly, Murray, to be perfectly honest.
In the back of my mind all the time, I'm saying to myself, has he got a problem? What matters as we watch this replay of Mika Häkkinen diving past the Ferrari, which, as Martin says, Michael Schumacher does not fight at all to stop it going through. The important thing now is to watch Montoya, who was 3.8 seconds behind on the previous lap, and see whether he starts catching Schumacher, in which case we will know that he has got a problem.
So Michael did get a touch wide in Cox, but not so much. He's now 1.9 seconds adrift. Last time around here, they were absolutely side by side, of course. Michael already beginning to fall back towards Montoya. So what is going on inside the cockpit of that Ferrari? But the crowd are on their feet as Mika Häkkinen came around to lead the Grand Prix, Murray. That's unusual considering the sea of red caps outside our window.
Yeah, we want to see Mika Häkkinen back. Third place. He's only had one podium this year in Canada and a couple of sixth places to give him those 9 World Championship points that he's got. But what's going on behind? Well, Rubens Barrichello in the Scarlet Ferrari, and there he is in 4th place, coming down to Stowe Corner, being pursued by the BAR there. That's Jacques Villeneuve, who's in 10th position, chasing Jean Alesi. And behind Villeneuve in the BAR, it's Pedro de la Rosa in the Jaguar, ahead of his teammate Eddie Irvine, who is in 15th place. We're on lap 6 out of 60, 1/10 distance. Olivier Panis and Jarno Trulli both out of the race, as is sadly David Coulthard. So here is Alesi, Villeneuve turning into the left-hander at Abbey, now right, up towards Bridge, the most spectacular corner on the course. They take that at 160 miles an hour into the comparatively slow complex at Priory and Brooklands, 55 miles on the apex there. Then round the double right-hander at Luffield, accelerate away round Woodcote, and Jean Alesi in the Prost leads across the line. The BAR, there's only one BAR left in the race, of course, only one McLaren left in the race, and only one Jordan left in the race. And Heinz Harald Frentzen, who started 5th, is down to 8th position.
And Luciano Berti then is out of the race. He's going past our window here. There he is. Now you see it in the Prost, and look at that line of oil behind him. He is off the racing line. That's a difficult car to recover from there, Murray. A very difficult car, especially if he hasn't got it into neutral. There is a couple of gates along the pit wall, and they can get that car through. They'll have to operate under waved yellows. Jarno Trulli then, his race lasted just 1 corner. He is back in the pits already, and last time around Häkkinen's lead was already up to 3.6 seconds, and on this particular lap he's another 1.5 seconds already faster than second place man Michael Schumacher. You're watching Fisichella, who's running 18th and last at the moment, and that is why he's running 18th and last. He's just recovering from the gravel trap. That's a replay from Cox.
And Jenson Button is in an excellent for the Benetton this year, 13th place. Replay of Fisichella going off. Jenson Button is actually doing well in this race. He's tucked up behind Pedro de la Rosa's Jaguar. He's ahead of Bernaldi's Arrows. He's in 13th place, and he's ahead of Eddie Irvine in the Jaguar.
A few people having some dramas on Bertie's oil coming round here, getting well out of shape. The red and yellow striped flags are waving aplenty to warn the drivers, because actually it is at the beginning of the racing line of Woodcote, and then now they've got that knowledge, they'll start to move outboard of that. It will be no longer a problem next time around.
Well, I've said watch Montoya. Montoya is definitely there's the red and yellow oil flag telling the drivers to watch out, because there is oil from Bertie's engine, and Montoya has closed the gap between himself and Michael Schumacher, who's in second position, to under 3 seconds, so 2.7 seconds, and what's important is that he is gaining. I suspect that Schumacher has got some sort of a problem, as Luciano Berti walks in at the end of the race. 4 retirements now, Panis, Trulli, Coulthard and Berti, as we look down at the sole McLaren of Mika Häkkinen. Remember, Mika has had appalling luck this year in Spain. He was coming home in the last lap to win the race when his clutch exploded, and out he went.
I think Michael's got a problem, Murray. He's now lapping 2 and a bit seconds a lap slower than Mika Häkkinen. I don't think he'd be wanting to let himself anywhere near Montoya. He knows full well Montoya will have a stab at him at the first opportunity with a big overtaking move. So Michael then way off the pace of this morning's warm-up, some 3 seconds per lap. However much fuel he's got on board, he should not be going that slowly.
No, and he's less than 2 seconds behind Montoya. Louise Goodman.
I'm standing here with a very disappointed David Coulthard. David, rear suspension it looked like to us, was that right?
Yeah, no, I obviously got damaged with the contact with Jarno in the first corner.
I was on the radio explaining that I had a big problem, and the team said, let's look at the data. And so, but I knew it was only a matter of time really, and then obviously let go coming through bridge and caught me out going into the Priory corner.
Tell us about that first corner incident. What exactly happened?
Well, I'm sure it's a classic case of two drivers, two different opinions, but Jarno made a better start. He was on my inside, but the nature of Copse is a very open corner, and I felt that given that I was ahead, I could still maintain my position on the exit and be in the right line for Beckett's. And when I tried to turn for the corner, he's maintained the position and hit my rear corner as I've turned in. So I'm sure he'll see it a different way. He'll say that I probably turned in on him, but he's not in the championship battle. You know, I know he's got to work hard for his position, but you've got to give up at some point because 2 into 1 doesn't go. I had the lead, so I believe he should have been the one who backed off.
Where do we stand with the championship now? I mean, that was your worst-case scenario, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, but Mika's leading, which is good. Michael, you never know, could have reliability problems, and we could be all square again after this race.
Bad luck.
Yes, that's true, but what a battle we're looking at now. Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari in 4th position has got Ralf Schumacher's Williams tucked up behind him. He's followed by Raikkonen, he's followed by Heidfeld, he's followed by Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So there is the Ferrari, and for whatever reason, Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari is disappointing again.
He's not had a great weekend, has he? But Sir Frank Williams are going to be very excited about how his cars are going. It'll be a pleasant surprise from him, and here's the start. So look, truly getting away very well. Barrichello used to having a bad start. Now what happens into the first corner? Michael, look, front left, gets away well. Hakkinen tucks in behind, side by side, Trulli and Coulthard. Appeared to be enough room. They both went for it. Bit of a racing incident, I think I'd have to call that one. Be difficult to really apportion blame. There's another angle. Coulthard was definitely ahead. Trulli with nowhere to go, didn't want to yield. You can't blame him really. So I think David could have left him a bit more space. Jarno could have been a little bit more careful. Difficult to really say any more than 50-50.
Trouble is, if you give way, you're a wimp, and if you don't give way, you're too hard.
Yeah, but you've got to make sure you keep your wheels intact, and there is the lead gap you're seeing for yourself in real terms. And Mika Hakkinen 11.6 seconds ahead last time over the start-finish line. So Michael Schumacher on an absolute Sunday afternoon cruise here for whatever reason. Would love to know why.
Mika Hakkinen 18 times a winner, and Michael Schumacher 50 times a winner. Looking good for his 51st Grand Prix win already, and that would make him equal with Alain Prost. And if he goes to Germany and does the same there, in 2 weeks' time in front of his adoring countrymen, he will undoubtedly be the world champion of 2001. Ross Brawn watching as ever. That is Ralf Schumacher, who's in 5th position with Kimi Raikkonen in the Sauber behind him. And then behind Kimi Raikkonen, that is Nick Heidfeld, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the yellow Jordan has slipped from 5th to 8th.
4 Ferrari engine cars in the top 7 then, Murray, with the 2 Saubers, of course, using last year's Ferrari engine. Not too shabby, is it? Of course, it won the World Championship for Michael Schumacher, and it's certainly doing a great job in the back of that Sauber this year.
Yeah, Constructors champions in 2000, in 1999, Constructors champions in 2000. Ferrari are now working, they've said this themselves, they're working to dominate Formula One with Michael Schumacher, probably not with Rubens Barrichello, who we expect probably to be replaced. of 60 at Silverstone, and already it looks safe to say that the incredible Michael Schumacher, very much the dominant driver of his time, is strolling away to another Grand Prix victory unless something happens in the fuel stop, unless something happens to the car. He's 17 seconds behind Mika Häkkinen.
Yeah, he's strolling away, but not from anybody, Murray. Montoya is keeping within a second of him. Häkkinen is 17 seconds out front, and Louise Goodman is in the pits with Jarno Trulli.
I am indeed, Martin. Jarno, we've heard David's side of the story. What's yours?
Well, I had a very good start, and by the first corner I was next to David. I don't know if probably he hasn't seen me or he didn't want to give up, so he just took the outside line, closed the door, and at that stage I didn't have any more space to avoid the accident. It's a shame because, you know, the team this weekend has done a great job. We had a very good car, and our expectations were very high for the race.
Martin described it as a racing incident. Would you see it that way?
Yes, because probably we didn't understand each other. I was on inside line, and normally if I'm inside next to someone, I don't give up. And probably David was fighting for the championship and really wanted to keep his position. And he closed the door a bit too much. And so in this case, you know, we didn't find our way.
Thanks, Jarno.
And here we go. Germany's Michael Schumacher, second place, ahead of Colombia's Juan Pablo Montoya in the Williams BMW, and it is getting very frisky indeed in this battle for second place. Montoya has closed up to less than a second behind Michael Schumacher, but what is going on in Michael's head? What is going on with the Ferrari? Because I'm quite sure that this is not a situation that he wants.
I don't think Michael's happy on this first set of tyres, Murray, something like that. He hasn't had any contact with anybody. He almost yielded to Mika Häkkinen easily. He didn't really fight him at all. He didn't make a big mistake. And Villeneuve has finally overtaken Jean Alesi, you're watching now, and we're going to see a replay of that. A good slipstream down into Stowe and a slide and slither up the inside. Alesi realising early on he's beaten, and Villeneuve very much with the faster car there, but I think Villeneuve got together with his teammate in the first corner of the first lap. Alesi springing up from what was 14th on the grid to what is now P11 behind Villeneuve in 10th place. But Michael Schumacher, I do not believe, is happy with his Ferrari. Be interesting to see after his first pit stop where he's at. If they're just playing a cruisy game and they're totally confident to let this happen because Coulthard is out of the World Championship, Häkkinen is no threat. He just has 9 World Championship points at this time. But Michael is playing it very cool if he's prepared to allow Montoya to be that close. James Allen is in the pits.
Yeah, down at Ferrari, actually, naturally coming down to see if there's any kind of problem here. They say Michael's car is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I think for once, guys, what we're seeing here is Ferrari actually being conservative with the race strategy. I think he's carrying more fuel than Mika Häkkinen. I had a whisper before the start of the race that Ferrari believed that one of the McLarens would be running quite light, and that's clearly what Mika Häkkinen's doing. Having said that, the pace is not all that hot, Martin. After the warm-up this morning, we expected to see them going a lot faster than this. So it's a cat-and-mouse game. It's one that will evolve over the next 20 or so laps. But I think Ferrari just playing it conservative. They came here hoping to win, but it wasn't necessary for them. It was absolutely necessary for McLaren.
Yes, because Häkkinen on lap 16 is already over 20 seconds ahead. Anytime soon, 2 more laps, James, and he will have a complete pit stop in his pocket over the rest of the field. So Michael Schumacher working quite hard in the... It doesn't look sorted at all. I have to say, I do not believe the car is where he wants it to be.
Yeah, it's not Dave McLaren all that good, actually, with Coulthard out of the race, because at the present moment, Ferrari are on 9 Constructors' World Championship points, with Schumacher in second place and Barrichello in fourth place. Mika Häkkinen for McLaren is on 10, of course, which means to say that McLaren have carved the gap from 52 points between themselves and Ferrari to 51 if things stay as they are. It's looking very, very good for Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship and, of course, for the Drivers' Championship. On lap 16, we're into the second quarter of the British Grand Prix now. 60-lap race, Häkkinen, Schumacher, Montoya, and the gap between Häkkinen and Montoya is 22 seconds, and the gap between Schumacher and Montoya is virtually nothing.
So this is the main fight of the race you're watching right now. Ralf Schumacher 5th, Kimi Räikkönen 6th, Nick Heidfeld in the sister Sauber 7th, and Frentzen then in 8th. He must have had a bad start too in there somewhere, so that's the main scrap, other than, of course, Michael Schumacher just about keeping Montoya at bay. Jenson Button is down in 13th place, running along, having a scrap with De La Rosa in the Jaguar.
How are the teams doing? Ferrari very well, thank you, because they are 2nd and 4th. How are McLaren doing? Well, leading is fine. Having the other car out is not good. How are Williams doing? All right, they're in 3rd and 5th positions. And then how are Sauber doing? 6th and 7th, excellent, thank you. Jordan have only got Frentzen in the race, he is 8th. Arrows have got Verstappen in 9th place and Bernoldi down in 14th position. And BAR, just to go through the top 10, Jacques Villeneuve is in 10th position and his teammate Olivier Panis is out as Montoya pushes Michael Schumacher on lap 18.
Now, will Schumacher let Montoya go so easily? Yes, I think he has, and he will. So Michael Schumacher then just letting them cruise past him this afternoon. I don't think he'd want to take any risk with this man Montoya. Montoya's shown quite clearly that he will have a go at the first opportunity. Ross Brawn looking super cool, but I don't believe they'd yield those points for the sake of it, Murray.
Yeah, we're standing right behind the main grandstand and they've just risen to a man and cheered Montoya past. Well done, they're saying, and rightly so. I don't think that they think that Michael Schumacher is taking it as comparatively easily as we here in the commentary box think he is. But maybe he's got a problem. Now let's start watching Rubens Barrichello, who is in 4th position, and see how his lap times compare with those of Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher's last lap was 1:26.12. Rubens Barrichello's 1:26.3, 1/10 of a second in it between the two Ferraris, with Michael Schumacher marginally fastest, now down in 3rd position. And Montoya is now really starting to go for it. His previous lap, 1:25.8, but that was 1.5 seconds slower than Häkkinen.
I didn't mention Eddie Irvine when I went through the Brits earlier on because I couldn't see him where I expected him to be. He's down in 15th place, is Eddie Irvine. So Mika Häkkinen then, 25 seconds ahead of Montoya. Michael Schumacher now already 2.2 down. Barrichello a further 11 seconds down the road. Ralf Schumacher still in close company with Barrichello. Raikkonen rounds off the top 6.
His retirement, the unofficial reports from the team are that there was contact between him and
traffic. He's just lapped Giancarlo Fisichella, and that's probably why he really pushed hard.
Lap 21, 1/3 distance at Silverstone, and Mika Häkkinen there is siding his way through the field. He's past Fisichella, he's past Alonso, he's now tight up behind Eddie Irvine as we look at this replay of Montoya passing Schumacher.
Yes, this is for second place, and Michael Schumacher, no doubt about it, just getting out of the throttle gently down the pit straight. Montoya still looking like he wants to give him a cuddle as he goes past him, like edging up closer and closer to him, and easily, of course, then takes the line into Copse. And here's another angle of it, and without doubt Michael lifting out of the throttle, saying, I'm happy, third place will do me for whatever reason, the points will do me, or I've got a problem. And the first stop of the afternoon then, and Kimi Räikkönen in from 7th position, 6th I think it was, because he's been passed as he's going down the pit lane to lose that 6th place, and a reasonable, quite early stop. I'm expecting them nearer 22-24, and Häkkinen's car, team getting ready then. James, can you see them?
Yeah, as we expected, Martin, they've got the tyre covers off, and this is what we thought, that Häkkinen has got reasonably light fuel. Now, he needed about 28 seconds to be able to pit and rejoin in front of Michael Schumacher. He had only just under 26, so I don't know whether he's going to do it, but I think Michael is playing quite a cagey game here this afternoon. And bear in mind, Martin, that Ferrari had more data about these new Bridgestone tyres, a good stop there by Häkkinen, than the McLaren team have.
Yes, I agree with you, James. I think they've probably brought Mika in slightly early because he was in the thick of the traffic, as you saw, and was beginning to lose some of that lead. And there is Montoya then. So Montoya takes the lead of the British Grand Prix.
And it's not the first Grand Prix he has led. Remember that incredible passing manoeuvre he made on Michael Schumacher in Brazil at the Senna S. Now, this man has got real talent. This is the man who won the Formula 3000 Championship, who went to America as a contracted Williams driver to drive for Chip Ganassi, and he not only won the American Champ Car Championship, but he won the Indy 500. Came back to Europe to drive for Williams and displaced Bruno Junqueira in the process, and now he is leading again. Slightly full situation because, as you know, Mika Häkkinen is right behind him, having gone into the pits and come out again. There's very little in it on the track. There's a lot more than it looks in terms of time, because what's a time full stop take? 20 seconds here?
It's longer than that, Murray, and it was a reasonably good and short stop for Häkkinen. Montoya, we know the two Williams cars are on the harder of the Michelin tyres. Have they elected to go for a one-stopper this afternoon because they really didn't have the pace to go and win this race, as they have in the most recent Grand Prix through this summer? They've not really had a tip-top pace through the weekend. Can they try and do it on strategy? I still don't think Montoya will be going that much further before he too makes a pit stop. I'm sure Häkkinen was a strategic stop, an earlier stop, to get him clear of that traffic he was having to lap.
Well, Michael Schumacher still out on the track, of course, and I said we would watch Barrichello's times in 4th position. The Ferraris are now 3rd and 4th, and Barrichello is lapping about half a second slower than Michael Schumacher. So maybe Michael's decided that the rot has now got to be stopped. Montoya leading, Häkkinen 2nd. Michael Schumacher on lap 23 out of 60 in 3rd position, ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams BMW up into 5th place. So they're looking good, Williams. They've got Montoya in the lead. They've got Ralf Schumacher in 5th position. Frentzen, as a result of the stops, is up into 6th position in the Seoul Jordan, as Jos Verstappen exits the pit lane in the Arrows. As soon as that fuel filler comes out, away he goes. Belts the Asia Tech engine hard, incidentally. The rumours say definitely that the Arrows team are going to have Ford Cosworth engines like the Jaguars next year, and Jenson Button comes into the pits for his stop from 16th and last but one. His teammate Fisichella is last, so that'll be a crumb of comfort for Jenson Button. Not much of a one, but at least I think he's ahead of his teammate, and he always has to be the first target.
So Häkkinen then really, of course, with more fuel on board, we would imagine, than Montoya at this stage of the Grand Prix, as he has just pitted. And the gap is pretty static. It's 0.6 of a second as they went over the line. They're both in the low 1:24s, well over a second faster than anybody else. This is a great performance this afternoon from Montoya, whatever the level of fuel. Look, he's absolutely on the ragged edge through Stowe. 2 or 3 times I've seen him using uncharted territory through there and hanging onto that Williams. He does seem to like that aggressive style, Murray.
Yeah, he's a strong lad and a very aggressive lad and a very menacing lad. You look into those very dark brown eyes of his and they're very determined indeed. He's only finished in 2 races this year. You're looking at the gap now between Montoya and Häkkinen battling for the lead, and Michael Schumacher there in 3rd position. He's 12.5 seconds ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Now, I was saying that Montoya has only finished twice this year, but each of those times he was in 2nd place in Spain and at the Nürburgring. All the others have been DNFs, did not finish. Usually because he's had some sort of a problem with the car, but he's settling down extremely well to Formula 1 now, and to say that he's a star of the future is very much an understatement. But Noldi exiting his arrows from the pit lane on lap 25.
No life for a Formula 1 clutch, is it? They get burned out pretty quickly with those starts out of the pit lane. Massive energy as you're lighting up the rear tyres. Just before you do so, that drag on the clutch, and they get 2 or 3 of those through the afternoon, plus the start, of course, and they're tiny things about the size of a man's fist to transmit that power. And this then is Rubens Barrichello with Ralf Schumacher in close attendance. So 4th and 5th places as Frentzen pits from 6th position. Heinz-Harald Frentzen having a calmer afternoon. Louise is down there.
Yeah, this race started with such high hopes for Jordan, but pretty much dashed by the first corner. That first pit stop's gone okay. I think the most nervous man, it's always a tense moment at the pit stop, I think the most nervous man down here, there was Ross Kemp. He had a severe case of stage fright, but all seems to have gone okay for the man.
7 laps ago, Mika Häkkinen broke the lap record here at Silverstone with a searing 1:23.799, and that is some half a second faster than Michael Schumacher's previous lap record. It's a speed of about 138 miles an hour, averaging around this 3.2-mile circuit. Into the pits comes Montoya.
So as we expected then, Montoya not with a heavy fuel load. He pulls into the pits from the lead of the British Grand Prix. It all seems to be going well, seems to be calm, a lot of thumbs up in the air. My wheel is on, firm and secure. I'm happy if you send him as soon as the fuel is in, and off down the pit lane goes Montoya at 120 kilometres per hour, and it's a long pit lane here at Silverstone.
Yeah, but take it easy, 120 k's, 70 miles an hour. Release the button at the right time, Juan Pablo. When you're back on the track, out of the pit lane, he has done so. Mika Häkkinen, Mika on the side pod, Mika on the rear wing, and he is now back in the lead on lap 26 at Silverstone. And Montoya is back on track in 2nd position ahead of Michael Schumacher, who is much closer, of course, to the Williams than he was before. And there is Barrichello, followed in 4th position by Ralf Schumacher, and Jacques Villeneuve is now up into 6th place, but he's 30 seconds behind Ralf Schumacher's Williams BMW. Top 6 and gaps. Häkkinen leads Montoya by about 5 seconds or so. Michael Schumacher another couple of seconds further down the road. Mika Häkkinen has just broken the lap record again as I talk to you. Rubens Barrichello is 14 seconds behind his teammate. Ralf Schumacher is right with Rubens Barrichello, and Jacques Villeneuve in 6th position is 30 seconds behind Ralf Schumacher. More news from James Allen.
It's all shaking out in a very interesting way, isn't it, Murray? It's, as I was saying on the grid beforehand, it's wonderful when you get a mixture of different strategies, and that's what we've got here this afternoon. When will the Ferraris make their stop? As I say, they've been quite conservative this afternoon, and one of the reasons for that they were able to base it on is because on Friday, this brand new Bridgestone tyre, no one had run it before, and they put Rubens Barrichello out for the whole of Friday on one set of tyres to build up the maximum amount of data that they had, and that seems to have worked for them very nicely. I can tell you that after the stop that Montoya made, his next stop will be on lap 44. So the pivotal thing then is when will Häkkinen stop, about 4 laps earlier, and when will Michael Schumacher stop?
Thanks for that, James. You're looking at Jacques Villeneuve in 6th position, being pursued by the 2 Sauber Ferrari-engined cars of Kimi Räikkönen, the super Finn, ahead of his German teammate Nick Heidfeld, and they are in 7th and 8th places. Frentzen is down to 9th position as a result of his pit stop. Jean Alesi is up into the top 10. 4 retirements in order of retiring. Panis Trulli, David Coulthard and Luciano Berti, and with the greatest of respect to the other 3, the most important of those from the race point of view is of course David Coulthard, who started this race in 2nd position in the World Championship, and he's still there, but it's getting more and more and more difficult for him.
Montoya then slipping back down to 5th position before, since that pit stop rather, so Montoya back to 5th. Ahead of him though, Schumacher, Ralph and Barrichello, Schumacher, Michael have yet to stop, so it's still looking good for Montoya this afternoon, and this man Villeneuve has not stopped yet. That is why he's up into the top 6, and that is why both Saubers are chasing him.
Fastest lap of the race. They went into club corner, but again, not being able to overtake, and of course, Ralph will be aware.
Doesn't time fly when you're enjoying yourself, because we're now on lap 30 out of 60 at Silverstone, half distance, as you watch Rubens Barrichello pursued by Ralf Schumacher in 4th position, and Montoya, his teammate, who is 5th after his pit stop.
Yeah, bad news for Montoya here, really. He didn't need this at all. He's clearly on a 2-stopper, like Häkkinen up front, but it's also clear now that Ferrari, as James predicted, are on 1-stoppers, and so is his teammate Ralph. And he is now tucked up behind Ralph and Rubens and the back markers, just when he needs a bit of clear air to make that strategy of his work. So Montoya then a little bit wrong-footed by where he rejoined the racetrack after his stop.
And although Ralf Schumacher and Montoya get on all right in a sort of rather calm and distant way, Ralf Schumacher is not going to want at all to move over and let his teammate through, even if he's told to.
Well, he'll have to. I mean, if the team radio him, I mean, it's really compromising Montoya's position now vis-a-vis Michael Schumacher, who's obviously way out of this picture at this time because Michael hasn't stopped yet. And really, Williams should be releasing Montoya. But Ralph, as you said, is not going to be keen on that. He wants to race Barrichello anyway, and he wants to keep Montoya as behind him, try and spoil his afternoon.
What are the Michelin runners doing? Well, they are in 4th position with Ralf Schumacher. They're in 5th position with Montoya. And the next one is Pedro de la Rosa, who is in 11th place, 1 position ahead of his teammate Eddie Irvine. 17 cars left in the race out of the 21 who started. Tarso Marquez did not qualify and was not allowed to start, even though an appeal was made to the stewards. They said they didn't see any just reason why he should be allowed to take part in the race. Now there in the McLaren, behind the 2 Ferraris of Eddie Irvine and Pedro de la Rosa, is race leader Mika Hakkinen. He's up to the 12th position, the 2 Jaguars in front of him.
Yeah, the green, very, very green Jaguars are lying astern there in 11th and 12th place, just about to be pounced on by the McLaren, and one of them decides, Eddie Irvine decides that's not what he fancies, so he's gone in for his first and probably only stop of the afternoon. Hakkinen then 13 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher.
Bit of a race in the pits, look, that's Jean Alesi, who is just ahead of Eddie Irvine on the track. They come in together. It's up to the mechanics now to move really fast. Eddie Irvine could ideally gain a place here if the Jaguar mechanics could do a really super stop and get him out. Has he done so? Yes, Eddie Irvine gets out ahead of Jean Alesi, and although others will have passed him, when they come in for their pit stops, it will mean that Eddie Irvine has improved his track position against the Prost, which led him when they came in. We're on lap 32 now, and Mika Hakkinen, as a result of the stop and Schumacher being out there, is now nearly 12 seconds ahead of the Ferrari. Ferrari in a very strong position because Rubens Barrichello, who, like Michael Schumacher, has yet to come in. There he is, behind Jean Alesi, who has rejoined. Barrichello in 3rd position, still ahead, of course, of Ralf Schumacher, and behind him Juan Pablo Montoya, who has not got past his teammate. All 3 of them are now ahead of Jean Alesi. Only 10 cars out of the 21 who started are on the same lap at the present moment. Mika Hakkinen has lapped everybody up to Pedro de la Rosa, up to Heinz-Harald Frentzen now, who is in 9th position in the Pedro de la Rosa in the Jaguar. Lap 33.
Retirements then, Panis tripping over his teammate Villeneuve in the first corner in the gravel trap. Truly, we're coming together with Coulthard. Coulthard managed another 4 laps before his suspension failed because of the coming together. Truly ended up in the gravel trap and out of the race immediately. And the other retiree, Luciano Berti, whose Prost Acer launched itself right in front of the comedy box here, laying a nice trail of oil to try to catch the others out. They managed to survive that, so just 4 retirements, but Mika Hakkinen peerlessly up the front this afternoon, and this is the main scrap of the race at the moment. Barrichello 3rd, Ralf Schumacher 4th, Montoya 5th, having made a stop, and he's on a different strategy and has been held up effectively.
Interesting situation between Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher in the championship as Jacques Villeneuve comes into the pit lane from 8th position. Heinz-Harald Frentzen takes that position. Interesting position, as I was saying, between Ralf Schumacher and Barrichello. They're only separated by 1 point in the Drivers' Championship when this race started. And at the present moment, Barrichello on 4 points is 1 ahead of Ralf Schumacher. Now, if Ralf Schumacher could get past him, they would be even Steven at the end of this race. And Williams are obviously fighting to retain their 3rd position in the Constructors' Championship, lap 34. And there are Barrichello and the 2 Williams.
You wonder what the lookalike was on the back wing of Villeneuve's car. It's not a new sponsor or anything like that. Obviously, it's just different ways they choose not to carry the cigarette advertising here at the British Grand Prix, as they do have to now in several other European Grand Prix. But Barrichello then still with his mirrors full of contender Ralf Schumacher. And these 2, of course, homing in on Coulthard for 2nd in the World Championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because David Coulthard at the present moment is on 47 World Championship points, and Ralf Schumacher, who is 3rd in the championship, is on 31, and Coulthard out of the race.
So if Schumacher can get ahead of Barrichello, it's going to make a big difference to his World Championship situation, and that is going probably right down to the wire. The last race of the season in Japan and Suzuka on October the 14th. This is race 11, and the next two are at Hockenheim in Germany in 2 weeks' time, and then the wonderful city of Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix 2 weeks after that. You've just seen Patrick Head. You're looking now at Ross Brawn, the Ferrari technical boss, and John Todt, who had that conversation with Martin on the grid. And here, all on his very own, having yet again broken the lap record. Mika Häkkinen has just gone round in 1 minute 23.3, and the previous lap record was 1:24.4. He's taken a massive 1.1 seconds off Michael Schumacher's previous record.
Well, it's just like an extended test day for Mika Häkkinen. He really has no contenders in this race. Michael, it appears, doesn't really want to be bothered with a fight today. He's thinking of the World Championship. Can you blame him, really? In many respects, it's a shame for us. I'd like to see more of a head-to-head than that, frankly. And really, nobody else out there is remotely fast enough to bother Häkkinen. So Mika really just enjoying himself, probably seeing how much faster he can go each time around.
Yeah, and Michael Schumacher's got 22 points more in the Drivers' Championship here at Silverstone, which is race 11 out of 17, than he had at the equivalent time last year. Last year, the 10th race of the year, of course, was the Austrian Grand Prix, because the British Grand Prix was at the end of April, as we well know, those appalling weather conditions. And incidentally, the British Racing Drivers Club and Octagon have done a superb job here at Silverstone this year. As far as I know, certainly no weather problems as far as people coming in, and there is a massive crowd in this ideal weather conditions, thoroughly enjoying themselves. We're on lap 36 now. Häkkinen out on his own. Into the pits comes Pedro de la Rosa, and he was in 9th place, just 5 seconds ahead of Verstappen, who will have taken the position.
And look down a little bit further down the pit lane, the Williams mechanics are out for this man, Ralf Schumacher, who pits for the one and only time this afternoon from what was 4th place at the time. Montoya snuck past him, of course, as he was in the slower pit lane. What's going to be interesting to see is, can Michael Schumacher pit a little bit later on and get back out in front of Montoya, because Ralf Schumacher really is fighting with Barrichello this afternoon, and the fuel hose taking 2 or 3 seconds to come out there, so that cost Ralf quite badly, and I think will probably keep him behind Barrichello.
Oh, yeah, now what is also going to be interesting is that Montoya has no longer got Ralf Schumacher between himself and Rubens Barrichello, and the Colombian is an extremely feisty fighter. I'm not suggesting that Ralf Schumacher isn't, but Montoya will be having a real go at Barrichello now. He's with the Ferrari.
And that is Heidfeld and Frentzen, so that is for position. Ralf coming out of the pits has cost him a little bit, and I believe that'll mean that Raikkonen is in front of him then. So I think Raikkonen has cleared Ralf Schumacher in this, and Frentzen having a go up the inside of fellow countryman Nick Heidfeld, and doesn't make it stick.
No. Heidfeld just moves across, which he's perfectly entitled to do. He got a car's length ahead of the Jordan, and he moved across, took his racing line. Frentzen is having another go at him. He's got a clean line on the inside as they come out of club, out to Abbey, and he dives through on the inside. That was a lovely move.
It was. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. He went in too deep, and just as you were turning and looking at me, Mario, I was thinking, has he got the grip when he gets there? Because that was desperately late. And often, when you sweep across the track like that, you get a momentum going in the car that hurts you when you get there, and that's exactly what happened to Frentzen. But quite clearly, he's got a much better car under traction than Nick Heidfeld.
Well, watch out Rubens Barrichello in 3rd position, because Juan Pablo Montoya, your fellow South American, Barrichello from Brazil, Montoya from Colombia is right behind you, and there he is. From 1.1 seconds, the gap has come down to 0.4 seconds, and Rubens Barrichello, who's just been back to Brazil for a holiday, which he said gave him new energy. He's going to need it now, because Montoya is pushing hard. The gap between Montoya, who is 4th,
and Hakkinen, who is in the lead, is 42 seconds. Hakkinen's out on his own. He's nearly 20 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher now, and Schumacher is some 24 seconds ahead of Barrichello.
Well, that's a crucial time, isn't it? Because he's ahead of Montoya by the same amount as well. So I think Michael can duck in and out of the pits and come back out in second place. So Montoya losing out heavily then by, as I said, where he rejoined the track. And that, good for us. I think that's going to put him in another head-to-head with Michael later on.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that you are right. Now down, now here we are with Jenson Button. He's down in 13th position in the Benetton with the Renault V10 engine.
Looks like somebody's hit the wrong button on the Sony PlayStation game there, because we went dark. Maybe we'll throw a bit of rain at him a little bit later on. We think Ralf Schumacher has gone off the racetrack. So we think Ralf Schumacher, we're hearing from the truck, he looks like, rather than gone off, looks like he's stopped actually in that position more than crashed, but we'll have to wait and see. And we think Ralf Schumacher with a technical problem then, and quite clearly out of the car, out of the race.
Well, you know, Williams can't be happy about their reliability record. That's if it is a technical problem, that's the 6th time this season in 11 races that Ralf Schumacher has retired, and Montoya has retired 8 times. Frank Williams has said, we really have got to do something about the reliability. When they finish well. Montoya's had 2 second places, Ralf Schumacher's had 2 wins. Now here we are with Jenson Button again. What's it like, Martin?
He's in Bridge Corner. That's where, just to the right, there's where Ralf Schumacher's trying to find the clutch to enable the marshals to move his car out of the way. It's tucked up in a little pit lane entry for support races, but no problems for Button at this stage. He is currently running 13th, as you can see, and just 3/4 of a second, and that's what 3/4 of a second looks like. That's how far a Formula 1 car travels every 3/4 of a second. The distance between him and the little dot on the horizon there, which is old hand Jean Alesi, heading down then towards Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see. Big lift there for Jenson. This car really not working for him. Look, even having to fight the car hard. And Hakkinen is in the pits. I can see Hakkinen pitting out of our window here. Looks like a scheduled stop. They're very much ready for him. So lap 39, that would be about right, James.
Yeah, Mika Hakkinen comes in, but the Ferrari boys are out ready for Michael Schumacher.
He's coming
in down the pit lane now as well. Of course, he's not really racing Mika Hakkinen, because Hakkinen has managed to work a big advantage over him, but he is racing one Pablo Montoya. They've both got one more stop to make. We're waiting to see what Montoya does, but at the moment, the tyres coming off Schumacher's car look great. They've behaved themselves really well, and Schumacher back out into the race. Where is he?
Well, I can tell you that Rubens Barrichello with Montoya tucked up behind him are about to pass Michael Schumacher. There you see it. Barrichello goes through, Montoya goes through, Schumacher rejoins the race. It's getting very, very interesting now. And Barrichello knows he's under pressure because he's just made his fastest lap of the race. Here is the situation. We're at 2/3 race distance at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and Mika Hakkinen with his stop and Michael Schumacher with his stop are getting very close. Rubens Barrichello and Montoya, you can see, on the track together. Then we've got the 2 Saubers, the most improved team of the year 2001, with their Ferrari engine. So, as Martin's already pointed out, there are 4 Ferrari-engined cars in the top 6. Heinz-Harald Frentzen is right behind Heidfeld, who is in 6th position, but 33 seconds ahead of Jos Verstappen in the Arrows, who is 8th. Jacques Villeneuve in a very disappointing 9th. Is he going to stay with BAR? Jaguar, the top Jaguar, is in 10th position, driven by Eddie Irvine.
So it really has wrecked Montoya's afternoon then, hasn't it? Because you can see the gap. That is Barrichello, of course, but just behind them, a few seconds down the road, is Michael Schumacher, and we know Montoya is going to have to stop again yet for a bit of a, what will be a bit of a splash and dash. Not too far away from the end of the race, but this quite clearly puts Michael back in 6 points position here, Murray.
Yeah, Michael Schumacher, as ever, has proved that he is not only a fantastic race driver on the track, but that he uses his headpiece to perfection. I don't know what percentage of his ability is used actually driving the car at record-breaking speeds and race-winning speeds and pole position-winning speeds, but it's clearly left him with an enormous amount of mental capacity to think about the way the race is going, what the tactics ought to be.
Well, this is good. Look, we're going to get a pit stop from a driver's eye view. You can see, you just choose the colour that you want to go into, and there's a box full of 22 men all dressed in the same colour. It's a good clue for you where you're going to stop. Well, you very rarely read that board. You're just looking for the lollipop to go up, and it's instinctive, the movements you're making inside the car. You're holding the steering wheel in the straight ahead position, your left foot gently on the brake, and you're steering at that lollipop. And when it goes up, you go. You can't see in your mirrors to check if anybody's coming, because your mirrors are full of mechanics. So here then, Montoya desperately struggling to get past Barrichello. They're on a different strategy, and it's wrecked Montoya's chances by losing all of these laps where he should be similar pace. And is that Montoya going in the pit lane?
Coming in. He seemed to pause and decide whether he was going to come in or not, suddenly jinked to the right. So it's Montoya in his 11th Grand Prix against Barrichello in his 140th Grand Prix. And this, of course, is going to do Montoya no good at all. The question is, can he get back on track before the two Saubers appear? Kimi Räikkönen in 5th position and Nick Heidfeld in 6th position. And the answer is most definitely yes, he can, because I'm looking back towards Woodcote now, and the Saubers are not yet in sight.
But Montoya then, remember, this is a very fast corner cut, so I think Montoya will get away fast enough, but that was not a good stop considering how little fuel. Should have been 7 or 8 seconds, so not a great stop there again for Montoya. We saw them struggling a bit with the fuel hose earlier on for Schumacher too, so losing a little bit of time in the pits today, Williams. Can Montoya, I think he'll definitely stay ahead of Barrichello, but surely he's going to be behind Michael Schumacher. A lot of work to do for him then.
Yeah, he managed to stay out ahead of Jordan Lacey and Bernaldi, who are fighting down in 11th and 10th places, as out of the pits goes Heinz Harald Frentzen. Behind Heidfeld, they came in 5th and 6th, and I think they're exiting 5th and 6th. And Kimi Räikkönen, who was ahead of them, of course, as a result of his stop, has dropped back a bit, and we're on now on lap 43, 1:17 to go.
Barrichello in the pit lane. Rubens Barrichello for what is a very late stop, 43 laps in to this 60-lap race. What can they do for him? What kind of service is he going to get this afternoon? All looks slick, doesn't it, so far? He's holding a nice steady revs. Up goes the lollipop. Drop the clutch, make sure you spin the wheels, otherwise the engine will die. No problem at all then for Rubens as he cruises out and heads into the final sector of this Grand Prix.
And over the line there is the Williams in the background as Michael Schumacher in 2nd position, 22 seconds behind Häkkinen, exits the Vale, turns into the left-hander now, club corner.
You know, I think Barrichello will be ahead of Montoya, you know, because Montoya's stop was slow, Barrichello's looked pretty slick, and interesting to see, did Montoya get out there in front of Barrichello? We very nip and tuck.
Yeah, look, mighty close. You think no, in my mind I'm thinking yes. We'll see very soon what happened. Now this is Fernando Alonso in the Minardi pulling off the track. What's the problem? Oh, look, there's the problem. Left front wheel, off it goes on a little rollabout of its own. And it's packing a lot of momentum. It looks as though it's going quite slowly, but those things weigh a great deal. I once had Didier Pironi's wheel hit me in that situation, and I tell you, it hurts.
Yeah, and Marshall bravely recovering that wheel. I heard they were rebuilding the Reliant Robins again this week. I saw in the news, but shame for Alonso. I think he'd recently been in for a pit stop, actually, so whether that one didn't just quite hook up properly, but no danger to anybody there. And this, then, is a Villeneuve in place 8, closely followed. A lot of attention from Eddie Irvine. Eddie's had a bit of a lacklustre weekend, Murray.
Yeah, top 10, lap 44, 16 to go, Silverstone. Häkkinen leads Schumacher by 22 seconds, Barrichello by 48 seconds. Montoya is just a couple of seconds behind Barrichello. You were right, Martin, but he's catching him. And in 5th and 6th places, Räikkönen and Heidfeld. Eddie Irvine in the Jaguar in 9th position, chasing Jacques Villeneuve's BAR, the world champion of 1997. Another very disappointing race for the French-Canadian. And Jacques Villeneuve is only just staying ahead of Irvine, but he is staying ahead in 8th position. In 10th place now, making up the top 10, it's Jos Verstappen in the arrows. You can see how hard Eddie Irvine is trying. And on lap 46 with 1:4:14 to go, Mika Häkkinen has got a very, very secure lead, but he's got to finish the race. And there's many a Grand Prix in the past where the leader has failed on the very last lap, and that's happened to Mika Häkkinen himself this very year. But he's 22 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher, and into the pit lane comes Eddie Irvine from that 9th position for his 2nd pit stop.
Locking up his wheels, desperately trying to slow down before that 120 km/h line, and it's not a question of the man not seeing you down there. It's all done electronically. There's a loop underneath the racetrack there. They'll tell him exactly what speed he was doing. Eddie absolutely on the margin there, and a late stop really for him in this Grand Prix. 9th place. He had a 27-second advantage over Verstappen behind him, and that is a proper 2-stop time. Now you can see Verstappen coming down the pit straight in the distance. So Eddie Irvine will retain 9th place. Can he recatch Villeneuve?
Yeah, a good stop by Eddie Irvine, and Jacques Villeneuve has only stopped once, and he's got to come in again. So it may well be that when Villeneuve has done his stop and rejoined the track, Eddie Irvine will be in front of him. We're on lap 47.
I don't think Villeneuve will stop again, Murray. I don't believe Villeneuve's got to stop. So that then quite clearly is leader Häkkinen homing in on Irvine to lap him for the 2nd time. So the 9th place man getting lapped twice. That's De La Rosa, sorry. So De La Rosa, your current 12th place man, is about to be lapped for the 2nd time this afternoon.
Well, what does it mean if Mika Häkkinen wins the British Grand Prix? And he's looking very likely to do so at the present moment with 13 laps to go. I don't think he ever lost his confidence, Mika. He's not that sort of a chap. He will have said to himself, I've had very, very bad luck in failing to finish 6 times. The dice have been loaded against me. Things will come good. They always do in the end, and they seem to be coming good for him. So, although he never lost his confidence, this will be a considerable boost to him. And it's proving that the McLaren is in great shape. That's a very important thing for the rest of the season from the point of view of racing activity on the tracks. Ferrari are looking very strong for the Constructors' Championship. I've said that before, I'll say it again, because the Ferrari team is already 52 points ahead of McLaren. And Michael Schumacher, if he finishes in 2nd place, is only going to yield 4 points in the Constructors' Championship to Ferrari, and that will reduce the gap to still a massive 48 points. But Mika Häkkinen is obviously and rightly going to feel very good indeed. But there are still, as he crosses the line to go into his 49th lap, 12 laps to go, including the one that he's on. Michael Schumacher, while he's cruising round, he's about half a second slower than Mika Häkkinen on each lap, but he's still lapping at virtually the same time as his teammate Rubens Barrichello, and therefore maintaining the 25-second gap between himself and Rubens. Rubens Barrichello is lapping marginally quicker than Montoya, so the gap between 3rd and 4th is increasing a little each lap, and Kimi Räikkönen and Heidfeld in the 2 Saubers are still 5th and 6th. In fact, as I look down the figures, there's not a lot of battling going on anywhere. Fisichella is in 13th place in the Benetton, and Donaldi is only 2.2 seconds behind him and catching him. But now we're looking at Michael Schumacher coming up to lap Jacques Villeneuve, and he does so.
How much longer will Jacques Villeneuve put up with being lapped twice in a Grand Prix? I don't think that's what he went to BAR to do, is it? And another dismal afternoon in many respects for the 2 Honda-powered teams. Where did Jordan get to? We thought they were so strong. They were 4th and 5th on the grid. Very fast in the warm-up, but Frentzen a lap down in 7th place and 2 and a bit seconds off the pace. And Villeneuve 8th place and a similar amount off the off the ultimate pace, Murray, so really a bit of a poor afternoon.
Yeah, you know, people don't talk about this very much, but I think Jacques Villeneuve is still suffering the effects of that enormous accident he had at the first Grand Prix of the year at Melbourne at the beginning of March, when he slammed into the wall at enormous velocity. I know he's not feeling well, and he's getting remedial treatment for it. I believe it's affecting his performance, because good as Panis is, he's not as good, I believe, as Jacques Villeneuve, and Panis has often been seeing Villeneuve off this season. But whatever, I think the French-Canadian must be getting increasingly depressed. He's not an old man. He's a long way from being an old man. But Jacques Villeneuve wants to win, and he will want to be in a better team than the one he is in at the moment. And he's coming up to his 30th year. He's got several years in front of him. But as the 1997 world champion and the man who gave Damon Hill such a run for his money the previous year, he will want to be up front, and he's got the talent to do it. The question is, of course, where can he go?
That's the interesting point. Not too many open spaces. Louise Goodman is down in the pits.
With Ralf Schumacher. Ralf, another retirement. I think that's your 6th of the season. What was the problem today?
We still have to figure out. There was a technical problem, rather gearbox or engine, I think, which stopped me going. And, you know, I just decided to stop. There was a strange noise going on, and I just stopped the engine.
Differing strategies for the Williams team. You went for the one stop. You're happy that was the way to go?
Well, I mean, as you saw after the stop of my teammate, I was in front of him and going at a pace of Barrichello. And I think, yeah, it would have been the right strategy. I mean, Kimi, I think, was still due to do one stop. So I might have ended up on the podium today, maybe.
Thanks, Ralf.
Michael Schumacher driving round. He is lapping consistently, half a second slower than Mika Häkkinen, and therefore consistently dropping back. The gap is 26 seconds, but clearly Michael is not the least bit worried about it. He's had his one stop that he planned to have. Rubens Barrichello, that we just saw there, has had his one stop, which was what he was planning to have. Here is the Brazilian. It's going to be yet another 3rd position for him. He's finished in 3rd position 4 times already this year, and a couple of 2nd places. He won, of course, the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim last year, starting 18th on the grid and in appalling weather conditions, carved his way through to the front. He'll be looking for another win in Hockenheim in the next race, 2 weeks' time. I don't think he's going to get it, because if Michael Schumacher is on the pace, that would be his 51st Grand Prix victory, which would take him up to the level of the most winning of all time, Alain Prost. We thought that was going to happen here, or a lot of people did, but it clearly hasn't. And there is Häkkinen ahead of Raikkonen, so there are now only 4 people on the same lap. The same lap, 52 out of 60. We're getting towards the end of the British Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen a massive lead over Schumacher. Schumacher a massive lead over Barrichello. Barrichello is 8 seconds ahead of Montoya, and it's only those 4, Häkkinen, Schumacher, Barrichello and Montoya, who are on the same lap, because both the Saubers of Kimi Raikkonen, I keep on trying to find new superlatives for this young Finn, 21 years old, and it looks as though he's going to be in the points for the 4th time this year in 11 races in his first season of Formula One. They'll all be after him.
Well, they're all after him already. I'm sure they're trying to nail his contract for the future and find out exactly which piece of paper he put his signature on with the Sauber team and what it says. Raikkonen, as you said, another very mature and calm performance. He would certainly know bits of this racetrack from his Formula Renault days here in the British Championships, but a peerless run again from him compared to teammate Heidfeld, who's 7 seconds further down the road. And, well, Kimi just seems to have all the qualities necessary. But is he locked in to a 3-year deal with Sauber? I wonder, would they release him? But that Sauber car, Sergio Rinland did a good job on designing that. But starting off with a Ferrari engine and then presumably the Ferrari gearbox, and then also that would position your rear suspension for you as well. That's a very good starting block, a good foundation for a fast Formula One car, and that is certainly what this Sauber is.
The amazing thing is that the man who designed the car you're looking at, Sergio Rinland, I shook his hand as I walked across the bridge to come to the commentary box this afternoon, and for whatever reason, and I've never really got to the bottom of it, his sojourn with Sauber was a very short one. He left the team at the beginning of the season, so the man who's designed this brilliant car is actually looking for a job now. And we're on lap 53, 7 laps including this one. 16 cars left in the race. The Minardi of Fernando Alonso is still last. Well, dare I say it, because I have been so wrong in making prophecies in the past, in the closing stages of a race. But we're now coming up to the end of the 55th lap out of 60 of the 2001 British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And things really do look set at the beginning, and you would expect any cars that have got a problem to have gone by now if it was going to take them out of the race. And that means that Mika Häkkinen looks like winning his first Grand Prix since the Hungarian Grand Prix last year, which was the 12th race of the year. He's going to come home victorious at Silverstone, and it will be a richly deserved victory for the very popular and likeable Finn. Here he is coming towards us now, and Michael Schumacher is now a full half a minute, 30 seconds behind the flying McLaren Mercedes. And it's not only going to be an enormous encouragement to McLaren and to Mika Häkkinen, but to Mercedes as well, because in recent races they had been shaded by the Ferrari V10 engine and the BMW V10 engine, and particularly by the Schumacher brothers, Michael and Ralph.
Well, Mika Häkkinen, of course, has never won the British Grand Prix. He has been robbed here before with an engine failure, but Häkkinen versus Michael Schumacher rings a few old bells from the 3 seasons previous to this. It's a while since we've really seen them head-to-head, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be a true head-to-head this afternoon. Michael Schumacher electing for a cruisy afternoon. Can't say as I fully appreciate that. I'd much rather he got on with it and took the fight to Mika Häkkinen, but that's from a fan's point of view and not from Ferrari's point of view. Of course, they just want to win the World Championship, but I still think it would be nice to see him going for it a little bit harder than that. You've got to say, it's not the most inspirational British Grand Prix of all time. Mika Häkkinen has got to be the driver of the day because it has been a good performance. Difficult, really, to fully judge just how good Mick has been today because the rest of them haven't been anywhere near. James Allen is in the pits.
All very true, Martin, but it's been a very interesting race strategically. It's always nice to see people are using different ideas, but I can tell you there'll be a very serious debrief on strategy in the Williams factory on Monday morning. Patrick Head, the technical director, is not exactly looking disgruntled, but he's certainly looking a lot less than gruntled. He's got used to winning races now with BMW Williams, and he's not at all happy at the way that Montoya's race was compromised by his early stop and getting caught into traffic. He's got a face like a bulldog chewing a wasp, and there's a few people going to get a bit of his tongue later on this afternoon, I think.
And I wouldn't like to be one of them. You know, these drivers make it look terribly easy. Mika Häkkinen there on a smooth, flowing copybook drive has looked as though he's out on a Sunday afternoon drive once he got past Michael Schumacher. But think of the stresses these people are under. The slowest corner on this circuit is about 55 miles an hour. They accelerate to some 200 miles an hour as they're going down to Stowe Corner. The braking forces, the acceleration forces are absolutely massive. I remember, Martin, when you took me out in the McLaren two-seater, I was just about able to stand 5 laps of it. If you'd said to me, would you like to go on for another couple, I would have wanted to. My pride would have made me say yes, but I probably would have had to say no. They are supremely fit, these people.
And so they should be, Murray. Michael Schumacher earns about $1 million a week during the racing season, and we expect excellence for that. Yeah, I'd like to be on. I'd like to be a pan behind you, Murray.
Well, here we are. We are now on lap 58 out of 60 at Silverstone, with Rubens Barrichello keeping it neat and tidy all the way around the circuit. He has got the Jaguar of Eddie Irvine behind him, which he has just passed again. And Rubens Barrichello is well clear of Montoya. Montoya's catching him, but he's 9 seconds a lap. He's 9 seconds behind him, and he's catching him at about 1/10 of a second a lap. In fact, he's just lapped at almost exactly the same time as Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari. Rubens had delusions of grandeur, I think, at the beginning of the season when he signed a contract to drive for Ferrari in the belief that he would be able to give Michael Schumacher a run for his money and that he would be allowed to do so. Well, Michael Schumacher has not permitted him to do that, and to be fair to Rubens, nor have Ferrari, because he's had to move over and let Michael Schumacher through. But now we are on lap 59. That is the last lap but one at Silverstone. And as you look at Rubens Barrichello in 3rd position, Mika Häkkinen, there is Michael Schumacher in 2nd position, and the gap is increasing all the time. It's 31.5 seconds with 2 laps to go between him and Mika Häkkinen. But I have to say, although it hasn't been exciting from our point of view, Michael Schumacher has done a very sensible thing. He has decided to defer to Mika Häkkinen, let the Finn go ahead. The fact that Mika is going to finish 4 points ahead of him in this race is not going to make any difference to Michael Schumacher in the Drivers' Championship at all, because Häkkinen was only on 9 points compared with Michael Schumacher's 78 at the beginning of the race.
Lots of stories, of course, that Ferrari were using their qualifying engine here in the race, a different specification for the first time. Is that true, Murray? Do you think that's a fact?
That's what I was told.
So maybe that's why they've asked, as soon as Coulthard was out of the race, why they've asked Michael just to knock the revs back a little bit and be sure to finish this afternoon, as Häkkinen then through Copse for the final time at racing speed this afternoon for the 2001 British Grand Prix. He was 33 seconds ahead when he crossed the start-finish line at the end of the previous lap. So Häkkinen then down Hanger Straight. The team tests here 20, 30 days a year at least and he will know this place like the back of his hand. He knows every bump down that hanger straight. He knows every line through this Stowe corner. He knows exactly where to brake over the crest for Vale, and this will be like a cruisy outlap on the first early run of an average test day for him. He'll just be swanning along. He knows that feeling very well, but this time around it means 10 World Championship points, Murray.
Indeed it does. Mika Häkkinen back at the top for what is going to be his 19th Grand Prix victory, and a very welcome one it's going to be. He's going to feel an absolutely liberated man, knowing that this time everything has come together for him. Out of Brooklands for the last time, he's just got the double right-hander at Luffield, the tremendously quick turn 17, which is Woodcote Corner, 155 miles an hour, and for the first time Mika Häkkinen wins the British Grand Prix. He just cruises across the line and takes the checkered flag, luxuriating in every wheel turn.
Well, that's a hat-trick for McLaren then. Even if Coulthard couldn't pull it off this afternoon, Mika Häkkinen scores 3 consecutive British Grand Prix wins for McLaren Mercedes-Benz. Second place man then, Michael Schumacher. I'll have those 6 points. Thank you very much. That puts him, of course, then 37 points in the lead of the World Championship, with a mere 60 available for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and because Rubens Barrichello is going to finish in 3rd position, it will mean that McLaren and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship have both scored 10 points at Silverstone, and the gap, therefore, between Ferrari in the lead and McLaren in 2nd place will remain at a massive 52 points, with the German, Hungarian, Belgium, Italian, American and Japanese Grand Prix still to go. Ferrari must be very, very happy.
Montoya crosses the line then for a disappointing 4th. Remember, he was running a strong 2nd before he made that early crucial pit stop, and he'll be very disappointed with that, and some 68 seconds behind the winner, Mika Häkkinen. Raikkonen and Heidfeld will not have the pleasure of seeing the checkered flag. They're 5th and 6th in the 2 Saubers because they were over a lap behind, so their race is over 1 lap early.
Well, Mika Häkkinen, hand out of the cockpit, taking the plaudits of the crowd. And the top 10 at Silverstone were Häkkinen, Schumacher, Barrichello, McLaren, Ferrari. The top Williams, Montoya in 4th position. The 2 Saubers are superb, 5th and 6th, both in the points. Heinz Harald Frentzen, 7th for Jordan, no points. Villeneuve, 8th for BAR, no points. Jaguar, 9th position. They probably won't be too unhappy with that, because they said that Silverstone wasn't really their kind of track. They're looking for something different, but they are improving all the time. Arrows, you have Jos Verstappen in 10th position, and then completing the other 16 who finished out of the 21 who started. Jorna Lacey in the Prost is 11th ahead of the 2nd Jaguar, De La Rosa. James, news?
Yes, indeed, Murray. I'm down in the McLaren area. A tremendous celebration going on down here. Ron Dennis, as Murray would say, Mika Häkkinen, who never went away, is now very definitely back.
Absolutely. Great race for him. Copybook from beginning to end. Right strategy, well executed. Mixed emotions. I'm really disappointed for David, but it's not over. We took points away from Michael again today, and we have the speed. I think we can win, obviously, more races, but it was Mika's day, and the championship, as far as I'm concerned, for David is still very much open.
Absolutely. Do you draw any encouragement from the strange pace of Michael Schumacher today? He seemed to be off it, really, didn't he?
I think his pace just reflected a one-stop strategy, which was the wrong strategy, but possibly, as always, they'll have a reason for dampening the enthusiasm of our victory, but they'll struggle to do that.
Well done, Ron. Great day today.
Don't worry, Ron. You did a grand job. Congratulations to Ron Dennis, to Martin Whitmarsh, to Adrian Newey, to Neil Oakley, and all the other people at McLaren and Woking. Not forgetting Mario Ilian, the late and very much missed Paul Morgan, who had so much to do with the engine of the Brixwood concern. They've won the British Grand Prix, their home Grand Prix. Well done, Mika!
amazingly, that launches him straight up to 5th place in the World Championship, despite his disastrous season so far. 10 points carries a lot of weight in the middle of the table. A lot of people are scrounging around for 1 and 2 points here and there, and Hakkinen then hardly launches a championship challenge from his lowly position earlier on in the season, but nonetheless he will enjoy that victory very much. And Michael then, well, Ron says it was the wrong strategy. Certainly didn't pay off for anybody this afternoon, but he still ended up ahead of Barrichello, who was on a 1-stopper too, and ahead of Montoya, who was on a 2-stopper. So I still believe they were merely cruising as soon as Coulthard was out of the race.
Oh, well, says Michael Schumacher, ho-hum, job done. He continues to lead the World Championship now with 84 points. And that is a massive increase in his lead over David Coulthard. David Coulthard has got Rubens Barrichello inching up on him. The gap between the two of them in 2nd and 3rd places is just 3 points. The gap between Rubens, who is 3rd, and Ralf Schumacher, who is 4th, is 3 points. So there's still going to be a battle for that 3rd position between the Ferrari and the Williams driver. But as Martin has just said, with one mighty bound, Mika Hakkinen has leapt up to 5th position in the Drivers' Championship, albeit some 65 points behind Schumacher, as David Coulthard congratulates his teammate.
Yeah, that'll be doubly painful for David Coulthard in that quite clearly the McLaren were the class of the field this afternoon. Maybe Mika would have yielded that win to David. He owes him a couple anyway. And of course, I think with David's position in the championship, Mika may well have been in a position where he wanted to, or was forced to, hand that win over. So David will be very much ruining that first corner, coming together with Jarno Trulli, but nonetheless sportsmanlike of him to go in there and be the first to congratulate Mika.
The cheery chappie on the right with the dark glasses is Herbie Blash, who has worked with and for Bernie Ecclestone for so long at Brabham, an ex-Lotus mechanic, and he's done a wonderful job in Formula One.
Bet there's a good book in Herbie, wouldn't you? But you couldn't write it till a few people had departed.
You'll never read it. The book that Herbie Blash could write about Formula One would be very, very much a bestseller, but sadly, much of it is confidential. So Michael Schumacher, happy enough. He's done the job. He's done about an hour and a half's drive. Mika Hakkinen, there he is, smiley Mika Hakkinen. That's the great Joe Ramirez on the right, who has been with McLaren and so many other teams for such a long time. And just before I came into the commentary box, I was talking to him. He's retiring from Formula One after the race at Indianapolis this year, and he will be sadly missed. But everybody now crowds up, because very soon out onto the podium are going to come the victorious three, and the winner, Mika Hakkinen, will receive that magnificent Royal Automobile Club Gold Trophy, which has been presented to all the winners of the British Grand Prix since 1948 from His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, one of the really great motor racing enthusiasts. He's driven Formula One cars himself. It's not well known, because obviously he has to do it in conditions of secrecy, but he really knows what it's about, and he is a very genuine enthusiast. And there he is, waiting for Mika Hakkinen to come out to get onto the top step of the podium, to be joined by Michael Schumacher on the second step and Rubens Barrichello on the third. And here they are, Hakkinen onto the top step. Ferrari are now on 118 points in the Constructors' Championship, compared with McLaren's 66. And well done, dear, says Hakkinen, their son Hugo, and the Finnish national anthem. keeping about and jumping in the air by Mika Häkkinen, but he's a very happy man, and it is the British national anthem for McLaren.
Designer, the man on the podium, the fourth man in the grey shirt will be Martin Whitmarsh, the managing director on the left-hand side of your picture, the managing director of the McLaren team. An important day for Mercedes-Benz. BMW have been stealing a lot of their glory. The fellow German manufacturer, but Häkkinen then with that very famous gold trophy.
Well, there are 60 points left in the Drivers' Championship. On the left, Michael Schumacher, as Martin Whitmarsh receives the winning Constructors' Trophy from Ted Kunkel, who is the Chief Executive of Foster's. And now the second place driver is going to receive his award from Richard Cabourn, who is the Minister of Sport, and the second place driver is, of course, Michael Schumacher, the elder of the two great Schumacher brothers. But I was saying there are 60 points left in the Drivers' Championship, and David Coulthard is now 37 points behind Michael Schumacher. I'll say again, all is not lost, but it is looking better and better for Michael Schumacher, and better for Ferrari. But nothing could look better for Mika Häkkinen than where he is now. The champagne sprays again in the hands of this superb Finnish driver, and Mika Häkkinen has won at Silverstone.
Thanks very much indeed, Murray. Thanks to Martin Brundle as well. Do not go away. We haven't finished yet by any means. We have a couple of competitions. One to win the latest British sports car, the result of that Best Murray banner competition as well. And Murray will be joining me here in the studio. Expert views from Tony Jardine and Mark Blundell. We're going to be hearing from the top three when they've dried off. All the other key characters as well will be following Jenson Button away from the track. And there's the gloss of the Grand Prix ball and the muck and bullets of the Silverstone campsites. We will be right back.
Een niet al te verheffende Grand Prix, vond ik zelf. Gebeurde natuurlijk in het begin wel een hoop. Er zijn altijd een aantal zaken die je niet zeker weet van tevoren. Bijvoorbeeld het aantal pitstops. Nou, er was al snel duidelijk dat de heer Häkkinen met zeer weinig benzine aan boord reed en dus heel hard in de ronde kon. Schumacher kon hem in elk geval niet bijhouden en die liet hem dus ook maar gewoon gaan. In de wetenschap dat Coulthard er toen al lang uit lag. Dan kun je beter maar gewoon die 6 WK-punten koesteren. Hier Joe Ramirez werkte voorheen nog samen met Jan Lammers in de tijd van Shadow. Daarvoor moeten we weer terug naar de jaren 70. 1978 om precies te zijn. Werkte toen aan de wagen van de Nederlander. En nu is hij in dienst van McLaren. Alweer jaren. Ja, op het onderdeel juichen scoort hij toch niet echt hoger. Maar hij kan wel rijden. Van deze man zou ik persoonlijk geen tweedehands auto willen kopen. Norbert Hauk. De directeur van Mercedes. Bridgestone 1, 2 en 3. En Michelin likt de wonden. Het was voor Bridgestone de 51ste overwinning alweer. Dan hebben ze er nog maar 10 minder dan Michelin. voor het fotoalbum de nummers 1, 2 en 3 van de Grote Prijs van Engeland, editie 2001. En we hebben Ron Dennis bij de microfoon.
Ron Dennis, dominating victory for McLaren there, but in some ways perhaps the wrong McLaren won?
Not at all. We're here first to win and second to win championships. We won the race. Championship is still open. It's harder, but it's not impossible. And we'll win more races this year.
Do you think the strange conditions losing Saturday played a part? Have McLaren really turned the corner this weekend?
Well, I think we've done a much better job. We're obviously things don't happen by accident. Hopefully we can maintain the momentum through the rest of the season.
Congratulations, thanks Ron.
Tja, alles is nog open. Zou hij het zelf ook geloven, Ron Dennis? Achterstand van Coulthard op Michael Schumacher. 37 punten met nog 6 races te gaan. En dan zegt deze man, alles is nog open. Maar goed, u hoorde het. Hij vond de zege belangrijker dan het kampioenschap. Waarschijnlijk komt het ook omdat de zege op naam kwam van zijn oogappel Mika Häkkinen. We wachten op de persconferentie met de nummers 1, 2 en 3. En daar zijn
Congratulations, gentlemen. A fantastic British Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen first, Michael Schumacher second, and Rubens Barrichello third. Mika, you've never won here at Silverstone before. Indeed, you haven't won in Formula One for nearly a year. How does it feel?
It feels really good. Obviously, after all this trouble that's been going on this year. So it's good to win it, obviously, and particularly here in Silverstone, because trying for English team and English crowd, so we made a great show, you know.
Now, you seem to be on it, even though you were well clear of Michael, about half a minute clear, you seem to be driving really hard right to the final section of the final lap. Is that because you kept thinking about the final lap at the Spanish Grand Prix earlier this year, where you pulled off?
No, because what I was planning to do, I was really want to push really hard to make a big gap. That when I come down there and park the car, I have a time to have a cup of tea when these boys coming back, you know.
Well, it worked. Thank you very much, Mika. Michael, early in the race, Mika was able to get past you. Did you make a mistake at Copse, or did you just let him by on the run to Beckett's because you already knew that David Coulthard was out of the race?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I parked the car and waved him by. No, what a joke, obviously.
You've done that many times.
Yes. No, my car wasn't really the way I would have liked to have it, in particular into Copse. I had a lot of problems. I got sideways a couple of times at the entry, and when it happened with Mika, exactly that happened. I lost it at the entry, and I managed to keep it on the track, which that was the only thing I was worried at this moment. And then Mika was beside me, and nothing I could do against that.
And then after that, Mika was able to pull clear. It was obviously clear in your mind that he was on a two-stop strategy to your one stop. Who decided in Ferrari that you would be stopping just the once in the race?
It's always a team decision, honestly.
Thank you very much, Michael. Rubens Barrichello, you were the last person to come in for your first stop. Did you stay out particularly long time because you had the Williamses sitting right on your tail?
I think it's we certainly thought it was the best idea, and I mean, I didn't have the balance I wouldn't have liked it since Friday, to be honest with you. So I was having to drive it quite carefully, although I was trying to be quite fast. And I was lucky that my car was quite good at exiting Beckett's. Otherwise, I couldn't hold anybody. But it was good to see Montoya coming into the pits, and then I had the chance to come in and still be in front of him. After that, the car with the new tires were a little bit better, so I was okay to drive away.
Indeed, in the final section, when Montoya came back on after his second stop, he seemed to have a problem. Were you able to relax a bit because you were clearly in third place, more points for Ferrari in the Constructors' Cup? I believe Ferrari are now 52 points clear of McLaren.
Yeah, I've been told that I was a second faster than Montoya, and that Mika was quite clear from Michael that it was nothing to gain anymore. So yeah, I had a chance to relax.
Thank you very much, Rubens. Back to you, Mika. It seemed from the outset of this weekend that you were in a more relaxed frame of mind. Maybe that's not 100% accurate interpretation, but it certainly looked that way. Is this a new Mika Häkkinen? Are you now back on the winning trail and we're going to see more wins before the end of this season?
Well, hopefully there will be more winning end of the season, but I think this Grand Prix before this Grand Prix we had a very good test. We were able to get a good balance to the car, and the tires was what we were using here was suiting a lot in my driving style. So I was able to attack the corner, and I was able to have a car which did not understeer so much, and it gave me opportunity to choose the line in a corner what I wanted to. So probably that can explain a little bit my speed over here. Otherwise everything is like it always been.
Thank you very much. Now, gentlemen, in your own languages, please, starting with Mika.
Ja, Mika Häkkinen die van Bridgestone banden heeft gekregen die blijkbaar goed bij zijn rijstijl passen. In ieder geval vermindert het onderstuur. Daar had hij weinig last van. Dus misschien kunnen we van Mika Häkkinen nog wel het nodige gaan verwachten in die laatste 6 races. Zou in elk geval wel leuk zijn. Ja, eindelijk dus weer eens een overwinning voor de Finn na al die ellende. En dat voelde goed, zei hij. Kon hij tevreden over zijn, een overwinning. Hij rijdt voor een Engels team, voor het Engelse publiek. Nou, beter kun je het niet hebben. En een halve minuut voorsprong op Michael Schumacher. En hij moest natuurlijk wel even terugdenken aan de grote prijs van Spanje. Toen hij 5 bochten voor het einde in het zicht van de haven strandde. En uiteindelijk Schumacher met de zege vandoor ging. En zover wou hij het toch dit keer niet laten komen. Dus hij sloeg een behoorlijk gat. Schumacher, nou, het was niet zo dat hij maar even aan de kant ging voor Mika Häkkinen. Dat niet. Maar had vooral in de bocht Kops veel problemen. Dan ging de wagen alle kanten op. En ja, Häkkinen zette hem gewoon keurig ernaast. Dus hij kon niet veel anders doen dan er daar dan maar voorbij laten. Was niet helemaal tevreden over de wagen, Michael Schumacher. Ja, die 2-stop strategie van McLaren ten opzichte van de 1-stop strategie van Ferrari. Gewoon een teambeslissing. Ik had nou niet het idee dat Schumacher er achteraf helemaal blij mee was. Maar ja, van tevoren bedenk je dat en daar moet je het dan maar mee doen. Barrichello hield uiteindelijk dus Montoya achter zich. En de wagen was na de enige pitstop, hij was de laatste die binnenkwam, een stuk beter dan daarvoor. Toen kon hij het wat rustiger aan gaan doen. En ja, toen viel er verder ook weinig meer te winnen of te verliezen. 4 punten scoorde hij. Dus zo blijft het verschil tussen McLaren en Ferrari in het nadeel van de Engelse renstal intact. Namelijk 52 punten in de strijd om de constructeurstitel. En de grote winnaar vandaag was dus Mika Häkkinen. Maar ja, ook Michael Schumacher die gewoon met nog 6 races voor de boeg zijn voorsprong heeft vergroot naar 37 punten. Ferrari verloor dus. Laten we eens aan Ross Brawn gaan vragen wat hij ervan vindt van deze Grand Prix.
Ross Brawn, in the way you've lost the battle but gone a long way further to win the war today.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. I think, I mean, obviously with the strategy we had, it was important Michael defended his position at the beginning of the race. But as soon as David was out, there was no point in getting silly with Mika, so Michael let Mika pass. Mika was very strong. And then it was just a question of making sure we finished second. So, you know, pretty good day, another step forward in the championship, and both cars ran reliably. Probably not quite as strong here as we have been in a few races, but it is McLaren's home ground, so yeah, good result.
Surprised at the pace of the McLaren, certainly in that first stint?
Not really. If you take the fuel into account and 1 or 2 other things, then I think Mika was strong. But it's understandable with, I mean, he had half the fuel weight that we had. And obviously he could push the tyres, whereas we were making sure we had tyres left at the end of the stint. So, I mean, we had a pretty conservative strategy today, which, you know, we could argue about, but on balance, we got the results.
I think many congratulations are in turn 1 step nearer. Thanks, Ross.
Ja, misschien vandaag de slag verloren, maar de oorlog gaat waarschijnlijk wel gewonnen worden door Ferrari en daar ging het om. En hij was niet ontevreden, Ross Brawn. Oké, ze kozen voor een andere strategie, iets behoudender dan McLaren voor Häkkinen had uitgestippeld. Häkkinen had veel minder benzine aan boord en ja, kon dus aanvallen. En Ferrari reed verdedigend en tweede en derde 10 punten gescoord. Uitgelopen op Coulthard. Ach, wat zal Ross Brawn klagen hier in Engeland. Zij hebben toch een leuke race gezien. Geen Engelse winnaar, niet David Coulthard. Nou, die is niet eens Engels, maar Schots. Maar goed, geen Britse winnaar dan. Maar toch een leuke race. Maar u ziet het, ja, McLaren Staat nog steeds 52 punten achter op Ferrari. En Williams scoorde 3 puntjes en staat nog steeds stevig op de derde plaats. Maar Ralf Schumacher kwam niet aan de finish. Bij de microfoon Mario Thijssen.
Mario Thijssen from Williams BMW. A good performance really considering the starting positions.
Yeah, really. Both cars had a perfect start and made up quite a few positions already before the first corner. The race was okay as well. The strategy worked out. We had one car on one stop, one car on two stop, and it was pretty close as we saw. So it was the right decision to try both strategies. Juan did a good race down to the finish. He was sometimes close to catch third position. In the end it didn't work, but P4 is good. Ralf had a technical problem. He reported a loss of power and then turned off the engine. So I don't know yet if it was the engine and what was the cause. We'll have to look at this now.
Now, for a number of laps, Ralf and Juan Pablo were running neck and neck, much as in France. Was Ralf asked to move over this time?
I don't know. I didn't watch this.
Okay, thank you, Mario.
Tja, of Ralf het verzoek had gekregen om aan de kant te gaan voor Montoya. Nou, Mario Thijssen zei dat hij op dat moment net even de andere kant op zat te kijken. Toch niet ontevreden. Vierde plaats voor Montoya. 2 verschillende strategieën. 1 op een 2-stop strategie, Montoya, en 1 rijder op een 1-stop strategie. Nou, het zat allemaal dicht bij elkaar, dus was dat een wijze beslissing. En ten opzichte van de startposities, 8e en 10e, toch een mooi resultaat. De 4e plaats van Montoya. Hij wist nog niet helemaal te vertellen wat nou het probleem was, waardoor Ralf Schumacher was uitgevallen. Goed, we gaan terugblikken op de grote prijs van Engeland. Beetje dolle voor de race. Het hoort er altijd bij. En dan neemt de spanning langzaam maar zeker toe. De laatste man die zijn positie op de startopstelling opzocht was Michael Schumacher, de man op pole position. Slaat hij door het hele veld heen. Zijn 8e pole position alweer van dit seizoen. Damon Hill, de haren worden steeds langer. Oud Formule 1 coureur op bezoek bij zijn ex-collega's. En Bernie Ecclestone, altijd nadrukkelijk aanwezig, klein als hij is. Nou, dan de start. Let op, de man in het geel, Trulli, en de man in het zilvergrijs, Coulthard. Die komen elkaar tegen en dan hier vliegt Panis van de baan af. Maar tegelijkertijd ook Jarno Trulli aangetikt door David Coulthard, die de deur dichtgooide, zoals het zo mooi heet in de Formule 1 jargon. En dan ligt Coulthard dus al uit. En dat is een duur verlies voor McLaren. Hij kan nog wel door in eerste instantie. Rijdt nog 2 rondjes. Maar de achterwielophanging is afgebroken en dan vliegt hij van de baan af. Nou, Schumacher die moeilijk had met zijn wagen, met name in Kops, wordt ingehaald door Mika Häkkinen. Hoeft ook geen gekke dingen te doen, later voorbij. Dan zien we hier het afscheid van Luciano Burti. Kapotte motor, uitstapje van Giancarlo Fisichella. Kan zijn weg wel vervolgen en wordt uiteindelijk 13e nog in de race. Dan meldt Juan Pablo Montoya zich in de buurt van Michael Schumacher. Eerst nog even het moment waarop Villeneuve Jean Alesi verschalkt. Mooie inhaalmanoeuvre van de Canadees. En Mika Häkkinen vergroot zijn voorsprong. Hier dan de aanval van Montoya. En opnieuw doet Schumacher geen gekke dingen. Kruipt erachter. Ligt op dat moment op de derde plaats. Maar dan is het al duidelijk dat zowel Häkkinen als Montoya op een 2-stop strategie zitten. En Schumacher maar 1 keer binnen zal komen. Dus moet het mogelijk zijn voor de Duitser om uiteindelijk nog weer voor de Colombiaan te eindigen. Hier de pitstop van Montoya. Neemt afscheid van de eerste plaats. Bij Ferrari vallen ze bijkans in slaap. Zo lang moesten ze wachten op de pitstops. Maar op het moment dat Barrichello voor Ralf Schumacher en Montoya zit. En Ralf Schumacher gaat het zeker niet aan de kant voor Montoya. Ja, daar zijn ze niet allemaal even blij mee. Foutje van Frenzen, die valt daar een van de Saubers aan. Maar ja, als je zo laat remt, dan red je het echt niet. En dan afscheid van Ralf Schumacher. Problemen met de versnellingsbak ligt eruit. Ja, ik heb ook geen idee, zegt hij. Maar hem zijn we dan kwijt. Pitstop van Michael Schumacher, zijn enige in de race. Dan komt voor Montoya weer als tweede de baan op. En ook nog voor Barrichello, die uiteindelijk gaat beslag leggen op de derde plaats. Voor de Colombiaan. En is Alonso opeens een wiel kwijt. Die vliegt er zomaar vanaf. Mooi gevecht tussen Villeneuve en Irvine. En hier kijken we naar de uiteindelijke winnaar van de grote prijs van Engeland. Duimpje omhoog. Mika Häkkinen, de terechte winnaar. Misschien wel herboren Na alle vraagtekens rondom zijn persoon. En ja, Adrian Newey weet nou niet of hij moet lachen of moet huilen. Tuurlijk, deze man wint. Voor eigen publiek. Belangrijke zege voor McLaren. Maar die man daar in het jekje, ja, die scoorde geen punten. En die ziet zijn achterstand groeien naar 37 punten. Maar het zal Ron Dennis een zorg zijn, want die is nou eenmaal fan van Mika Häkkinen. En die heeft hier de grote prijs gewonnen. Dus smaakt de champagne goed. Maar dat geldt ook voor Michael Schumacher en Rubens Barrichello. En dan gaat iedereen weer per helikopter naar huis. Want je wilt toch maar niet in de file staan hier op de A43. En dan vooral de mensen die dat kunnen betalen, die mogen meevliegen. En rekent u maar dat Michael Schumacher daarbij hoort, de best betaalde sportman ter wereld. Hij gaat naar de grote prijs van Engeland nog steviger aan de leiding. En de volgende race is in Duitsland en daar rijdt Michael Schumacher dus voor eigen publiek. En dat is over 2 weken op 29 juli. Maar dat beginnen we alweer op vrijdag op het vertrouwde tijdstip van 11 uur. En dan is Tom Coronel er ook weer bij. Dus ik zou zeggen tot over 2 weken. Dag.
You're back with us at Silverstone. He was due, okay, 10th time here. He's finished second twice, the 10-1 shot. Mika Häkkinen has won the British Grand Prix. Confirmation of the result for you. 10 out of 10 for Häkkinen. Then Michael Schumacher cruising round for those 6 points. Rubens Barrichello on the podium again in the second Ferrari. Montoya must feel he could have finished higher than fourth. He led at one stage. Fantastic drive once again for Kimi Räikkönen, the Finn, the rookie of the year in the Sauber in 5th place, and Heidfeld, 2 Saubers there in the top 6. So how does it all shake down the championship? 47, 57, 67, 77, that's 30, 84. It's a lot of points, isn't it? 37 points. David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher, the gap at the top. 3 points now between Rubens Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher. Häkkinen, those 10 points push him to 5th in the championship, and Montoya stays in the top 6. And the constructors Ferrari continue to romp away with that, although McLaren scoring well with Mika Häkkinen today. Williams in 3rd place. Sauber 4th. Jordan 3 points ahead of BAR in 6th. We go straight to the press conference. Cheer up later on. Don't worry about that.
Thanks, Troy.
Only won the race, didn't he? What did you think of it, Tony?
Well, I've got to go back to David Coulthard and say that the dream is just about over. It's hanging by a thread, but he must take great heart, I think, from the McLaren performance. A definite improvement there. They've found something that maybe can make them challenge. Häkkinen, will he stay, will he go? I know Marky has views on that, and Ferrari were fantastic. What we have to say is the McLaren boys are in awe of the Ferrari performance. They talk about them doing a brilliant job. When will it stop? It's a real steamroller at the moment.
What a shame about the start, though, Mark.
Yeah, it was a shame about the start. It took the edge off of things.
DC's race was run by the first turn, basically. Situation really when you're on the racetrack, you know, they're at the start here now, the countdown, they're off the grid, and Truly gets a very good start. DC's a little bit slow off the line, Truly gets up the inside, DC takes his line. It's a 50-50 deal, basically. They touch, off he goes. Problem then for DC, he's just got to try and struggle around after that and recover. But very tough on him psychologically. Very difficult to take that and go on with it in the race. But I think I've won the bet, Tone. I think, you know.
Well, just looking at it from the aerial thing, Mark, you look at the squeeze there, and then you see Villeneuve touching with Panis, and out he goes. But what I take from this is David Coulthard was left with no option but to go for it because of all the failures that he's had this year. He's made one mistake, and that was in the pit lane with the button in France. Otherwise, it's been stalled on the grid, it's been software, it's been engine in Canada. He had no alternative just to go for it.
I'm interested though, Mark, in the sort of the word yield, in that David seems to suggest, well, I'm going for the World Championship. Jarno Trulli should have yielded, and Trulli says, I don't yield in that situation.
Hey, you know, there's 7 races or so left, or, you know, maybe one less at that point, but it's every man for himself out there. Jarno Trulli's had the best performance so far in the season. He wants to make a good race of it. I know DC's going for the championship, but he could have just yielded a little bit, maybe. Just done a little bit just to get through the first turn.
And no surprise when his race ended prematurely, David Coulthard, after the shunt he took. The man he had to slew across to the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, you see here the car's already let go. Basically, that's a real tough situation. He's had a knock from another car, and it's very unnerving as a race driver to actually carry that car at speed. You know, you're going into a corner with commitment, you don't know what's going to happen, and rear suspension just let go on him.
What did you make of Michael Schumacher this afternoon? Of course, the fellow who everyone feels sure will win the World Championship once again. I mean, he just seemed to cruise round gently this afternoon.
As we kind of thought, didn't we? I mean, just calm and collected, and Ferrari at their best. Jean Todt kind of let the cat out the bag on the grid there with Martin Brundle's grid walk. We knew it was coming.
Didn't need to win, didn't need to stretch, did he? And both Häkkinen and Montoya, as we said, went past the World Champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think Murray had talked about this with Martin in the commentary as well. It was something we were trying to find out. Were they using this development engine, the 050? We think they were, which helped them in qualifying, helped them in the race. It must be incredibly fuel efficient because, you know, till lap 43, Barrichello stayed out before he came in for his pit stop. And I believe it was a tactical race totally by Ferrari. We're just going to cruise, we're going to collect and also protect this new engine, because I don't think it had done the race distance before.
We might be able to find out a bit more about Ferrari's tactics. Ross Brawn is down there, the main man at Ferrari, with James.
Ross, a strange day really for you and for Ferrari. It didn't really look as though you were trying to win that race.
Well, we had a pretty conservative strategy today, and we expected Mika to be on a very aggressive strategy. That was fairly predictable, and there was no point in trying to hold back Mika. I mean, a one-stop obviously has to maintain his position at the beginning, but to try and hold it off against Mika and risk an accident just wasn't right. So with David going out so soon, then once Mika got ahead, then it was a question of just scoring a point. So it was a pretty quiet day after that.
Conservative's not a word I normally associate with you in race strategy. What's happening? You're getting old or something?
Not really, no. No, but I guess just the situation we're in, and we weren't completely happy with the car race setup-wise. We thought McLaren would be very strong in the race, so I think what came out today was pretty much as we expected.
Championship looking pretty comfortable though, isn't it?
Well, it's another step in the right direction. That's what was important today. I mean, we do try and win every race we go into, but sometimes you have to be sensible.
Thanks, Ross.
Pragmatic sort of approach today from Ferrari, but Ron Dennis a few minutes ago said that Ferrari got their tactics wrong. 2 in the top 3 doesn't seem too bad to me.
I don't think they got them wrong at all. I think those guys from Ferrari with the red shirts, they're very calm, very collected. You know, as we just said, and the way they're talking, they knew what they were doing. It was done. The result was there.
The crowd here, Mark, who'd come, many of them come to see a British victory or hoping for a British victory. At least they saw a good old battle between Nick Heidfeld and Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
Yeah, I mean, Frentzen there didn't get a very good start, so he's got Heidfeld breathing down his neck, and they really did have a ding and dong, didn't they? And these two guys are from the same town. You see, Frentzen's gone underneath him, blown the corner, Heidfeld's gone straight underneath him again. You know, after you, sir, no, sir, you go. But they're from the same city, definitely a bit of needle with these two. But very impressive show by Sauber, Raikkonen and Heidfeld.
Let's talk about Williams. They played down their chances here. Montoya led the race for quite a while. Tony, it looks like he could be heading for his first win at one stage.
Yeah, but it's a shocking reliability record, isn't it? Montoya's got those 2 second places. You know, when he finishes, he's there, and he's been wonderful. Like in Brazil and Austria, we marvelled at his performances, and we've still to see those yet again. But we've had hydraulics failures, gearbox failures, and when Patrick Head says to you, know, this is a very disappointing weekend, that means when he gets back to the factory, he's going to read the riot act.
Yeah.
And Mark knows, because when he was testing there at Williams, he's a hard taskmaster. But eventually, they will get that job done. And Michael says, we fear this car when it has reliability.
Let's find out what Juan Pablo Montoya made of his first British Grand Prix. Here is the Colombian chatting to Louise.
Juan Pablo, well, you led the race at one point, finished 4th. Are you happy with that?
It's okay, you know, I think we made a mistake in my second stop. We should have came, you know, we had fuel to come in a lot later, and they thought we could go by Romans that way. I don't know why. But
you went for the 2-stop strategy. Do you think that was the right way to go?
yeah, it was, you know, it paid off. You know, started 8th, finished 4th. It's not that bad, but couldn't have been better.
Thanks.
Teammate Ralf Schumacher went for a 1-stop strategy, but that whole reliability let him down again.
Yeah, also the other problem, again, but Murray talked about this, that the Michelin tyres weren't working that well, and it just shows you if you've got to start back from 8th and 10th place on the grid, which they had to do, might be a fantastic engine, might be a fantastic chassis, but if the last key component, the tyres, aren't working properly, you can't really get up there. And Montoya had elected to go on the harder compound as well, so I think he was hoping originally to go on a 1-stopper as well, but he had to go on the 2. But again, Ralph, I think he drove very well, but Berger and the team, you know, Berger, head of BMW Motorsport, they really believe in him, but he was a bit lacklustre, really.
Stop you there for a moment, Tony. We're going to go down and talk to David Coulthard, the man who's won here for the last couple of years. Hi, David. Your race ended, what, a little while ago, nearly 2 hours ago, didn't it? Have you had time to put things into perspective, to have a bit of a think about things?
Yeah, obviously I'm very disappointed in my own race, but you have to look to the positive here. And the fact is, McLaren were very competitive. It's good to have Mika up there on the podium, and this could have been a McLaren 1-2. And you know, naturally, I think the result would have probably gone the other way for the sake of the championship. So that in itself gives us confidence, because I think in reality we were actually much more competitive here relative to Ferrari than the sort of display they put on in Nürburgring, where we looked pretty average.
Yeah, it's an easy race from the commentary box. It's an easy race from up here, but again, with the benefit of hindsight, do you think you perhaps could have lifted off at that first corner?
Well, if you always lift off, unfortunately, you're always going to come out second best. I think that looking at the damage to my car, then Jarno's front wheel was touching only halfway along my bodywork. I think that we as racing drivers know the type of corner you have there, and it opens out on the exit. So with having track position, I was in front of him, then there's absolutely no reason to expect that I should lift in that situation. The only way we'd come in contact would be if I deliberately turned in on him, which I obviously didn't consciously do, and or he drifted into the side of me. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, you know, why it happened. The fact is, we should both know that you can't win the race at the first corner. Obviously, slightly different agendas from Jarno and myself.
Yeah, if he had been going for the World Championship and you had been in the same position, would you have yielded?
I don't think that it's got anything to do with the championship. I think it's just got common sense. You know, two cars don't go round a corner without a bit of give and take. And you know, I made it quite clear that when we entered the corner that I wasn't going to lift, and he should know that, and there should be time to react. And you know, there's enough of the curb on the inside, which is flat, that he could have turned if he felt that I was squeezing him. So, you know, I think that irrespective of what it looks like from the outside, if you're a racing driver and you sit in the cars, you know the corner, you know the circumstance, and you know that it is possible to get two cars through there, but it will involve both giving a bit of room. And unfortunately, we weren't both able to see eye to eye in this situation. But I just remind you again, I did have track position. I was half a car length in front.
How big a disappointment is it for you, David, particularly in front of your home crowd, and particularly going for that third successive victory, that you couldn't deliver today?
Yeah, it's very disappointing. You know, the car was damaged from that first corner, and I was on the radio explaining. We tried to hang in there just to establish how bad the balance of the car was. And obviously I would have preferred to have parked than to have spun off in the entry to Priory, but just there was so much damage to that right side of the car. It was really just a question of whether we decided to pit or not, and got caught out under braking. So it is disappointing, but nonetheless, I think from a team point of view, to win here, to show that although Ferrari still have the legs on us in qualifying at the moment, we can put in strong race performances. Their strategy was completely wrong today, there's no question about it, so I'm afraid James is going to have to not be so complimentary to Ross Brawn this weekend, because there was just absolutely no logic in going so late on this situation unless they believed they could hold us up. And I would have thought the evidence of our performance through Friday, Saturday with fuel on was that we had a quick race car.
Were your tactics set up for you personally to win here today?
Yeah, the situation would have been that the team would have maximised my potential to get in there in the championship. So if we'd been running 1-2, then that would have been reversed. That would have obviously been a difficult pill for Mika to swallow, because he you know, as we stood and watched the race, then he overtook Michael and was looking pretty strong. But obviously we don't have the benefit of knowing just how strong I would have been in the race, and I think logically I would have been running right with him. But I've had to swallow those pills in the past, and I have absolute confidence he would have done so here this weekend.
Just a couple of final things for you, David. You were very quickly over there to congratulate Mika Häkkinen, who has had a long, lean spell. It's a good win for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that irrespective of everything that's going on in my own battle for the championship and the whole speculation thing, I think for Mika and his car crew, it's been a long time. They've had, you know, they deserve the victory in Barcelona. I don't think anyone could doubt that. And you know, I think he just sincerely, I just wanted to be one of the first guys there to say that welcome back. But hopefully he'll be finishing second to me in Hockenheim. Although, as we all know, there could well be another team coming forward to pick up the victory at that circuit.
Sure, and it's never over until it's over. But if I say to you now, I bet you Michael Schumacher is going to be world champion again this year, what would you say?
Well, you've got to say it's a pretty steep wall we have to climb. It's still mathematically possible, and no matter what people say at the moment, no one truly knows what's going to happen until the points don't add up. But logically, you'd say they have the strength and the position, and largely during the season, if you look at the first 11 races, they've had the performance. So unless we're able to develop ourselves out of our qualifying situation, then they have the best position.
Sure. David, thanks very much for your cooperation before and after the race. Perhaps a word for you about all your fans who are trying to head for the sort of the byways out of Silverstone at the moment. They gave you good support here again, didn't they?
Yeah, no, I had fantastic support here, and I really appreciate that. I know it was out there for all the British drivers. It's a shame that I wasn't able to deliver today, but nonetheless, I think that a victory for a British team should be some consolation. Although I do notice there's a lot of support out there for Ferrari, so
that makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that's surprising. But no, it's there's nothing quite like a British crowd, very civilised, and you know, I thank all of them on behalf of all the drivers.
Thanks very much indeed, David.
Thank you.
Right, well, let's talk about Mika Häkkinen. We should, I think, probably pay tribute to Mika Häkkinen a little bit, because people have been putting a line through his career. He's not the most charismatic of drivers, is he? But it'll mean a lot for him to win in Britain at last, won't it?
Sure, it's the first time he's won the British Grand Prix as well, but I don't know really why people should put a line through the guy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. There's no way that I can see that he wants to go and retire. You get this little thing build up, and all of a sudden the guy's out of a job. But you see by his performance today and over the course of the weekend, he's a great driver and will continue to be.
You mentioned before the start of the race that you were driving here, one of your wheels came off, and Mr. Alonso had a similar experience in the Minardi, didn't he?
I think everybody goes through a situation like this as a race car driver. At some point, you're like Alonso here, he's trawling around. He obviously knows he's got a problem, he's going very slow, and pop off the left front wheel goes, and off into the distance. And it's a little bit disconcerting. Obviously, trying to then carry the car around on three wheels is a bit tricky. But that kind of thing at Grand Prix level shouldn't happen. Even at this situation here with Mika Häkkinen, that's the rear wheel. Front end pops up, rear wheel goes off, and the rear drops down. Very tricky, very dangerous, but mistakes do happen.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago, and I think, Tony, I'm right in saying that Mika Häkkinen would probably have won, you know, if that hadn't happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he would have done it. I mean, I'd take slight issue with Mark. I know what he's saying, but the reason there's a speculation about Häkkinen is because from last year we really tried very hard. Look at Belgium and so on. This year, yes, we know he's had a terrible time, but you take Canada where he's in the middle of the pack, he did nothing. And then suddenly when they all scattered in for the pit stops, he scatters off, sets fastest laps and gets up on the podium. He was lapped 6th place in Germany, and he mistakenly thought that the front wings were bent when they weren't. There is a whole catalogue of these very, very poor performances, leading people, like myself, to suggest that perhaps he's up for his P45, I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
It's not a revolver, but perhaps he should take one occasionally.
Mika Häkkinen's been having a bit of a tough season, so has Jenson Button. 15th place for Jenson in the Benetton and his home Grand Prix.
Jensen, how was it for you?
Not good at all, actually. The car was quite oversteered for pretty much all the race, and that was the problems that I was having. Also, the power steering packed up after about the 10th lap, I think. I think I hit a curve a bit hard and it just shut down, so it's pretty hard work driving on no power steering around here, but there you go.
So a tough and not very enjoyable afternoon?
No, not really. But there you go.
Well, better luck at the next one.
Thank you.
And we'll see Jensen having a little bit more fun away from the circuit when you rejoin us. Murray Walker is going to pop into the studio as well. And here's his sparring partner.
Dad, Rennie Arnoux comes into the pits. Let's stop the start watch.
Don't make mistakes. I make prophecies which immediately turn out to be wrong.
Not too many of them this afternoon.
I'll
though,
have
Murray.
that Martin Brundle.
He's the back of a very long queue, a very illustrious queue as well, I think. Some experience for you the whole weekend here, Murray, isn't it? I mean, there was a great roar when you came to the commentary box. I don't know how you're going to get out of this place. I think there's still 85,000 people waiting for your autograph.
Jim, it's been the most humbling and rewarding and exciting weekend I can ever remember, I think. I mean, I got a gold medal from the British Racing Drivers Club. I'm a very, very proud member of the British Racing Drivers Club. And the only 4 people who've had them before were Bernie Ecclestone, Ken Tyrrell, Sterling Moss, and
one other.
And one other.
Probably you.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, the difficulty has been getting the job done, because as you well know, we scurry around, getting information, talking to people, and that is something I haven't been able to do this weekend, which accounts for any mistakes I may have made.
No, I don't think you made too many of them, did you? Did you enjoy the race? And what are your feelings in hindsight about the race?
To be quite honest, it's not there's no such thing as a dull Grand Prix, and this one wasn't dull, because there was actually a hell of a lot going on. If you think about the implications of it, McLaren have done a fantastic job. Ferrari, I think, I mean, people can witter on about the fact that they were on a wrong strategy. Fact remains that they finished 2nd and 3rd. I feel desperately sorry for Montoya. Williams have got a bit of work to do, but there's a lot of things happened here today that are going to affect the rest of the season.
Right, you didn't go to the ball, did you? Or you didn't go to
the only thing I didn't go to.
And I don't think you paid too many personal visits to the campsites, did you?
Well, not this year.
Not this year,
or any
perhaps next year, because there are all sorts of ways of getting a taste of the action at the British Grand Prix. Lots of variation around. Our reporter's Beverly Turner.
What is the ultimate Silverstone experience? Is it helicopters and hospitality, or tents and tinnies? Well, every year thousands of fans end up right here in the often muddy fields near the circuit. So are they dedicated or just a bit mad?
Wonderful. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Spot on. We are the 5-star campers. It's nothing else like it.
We're getting a sneaky look inside the luxury end of the campervan experience. Marty, tell me about this place. Where do you sleep? Where do you eat?
I've got to say, Beverly, this is tops. The last 6 years been under canvas. Last year I said enough after the April experience. Going to trade up to myself a little VW campervan. We've got ourselves a nice little kettle, little grill for a little bit of bacon in the morning maybe. Absolutely perfect. And then we pack the bags to go up to see a bit of the racing and take a few of your finest out the fridge. Absolutely perfect.
The worst thing about it, I think, is beer tents right over there. That's about it, really. No, that's it. That's it. You try and sort of bung yourself up the weekend. You don't really want to. You don't want to have a Silverstone poo, basically.
So that may not be for everyone. Time to find out how the other half live, and you have to arrive in style. Oh my God, that was amazing. For the guests here tonight at the official Grand Prix ball, there's only one way to arrive, by helicopter. Even better if you've got 2 Formula 1 drivers as your dates. Come on, chaps. How important is this a part of the weekend of Silverstone experience?
It's important for the people that are here because they're going to have a good night, but I can't, you know, I got to disappear off and lie low. I'd love to be here, and this is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to retiring at some stage, that I can come to this party and have a nice party, you know. It's one of the best events of the year.
We're just really surprised the drivers are all really short. You shouldn't wear your heels to an event like this.
They are, they're tiny.
No, I would have kind of come on my knees.
As it were.
So, patience.
Heinz, I'm loving your trousers. Who's sponsoring you tonight?
Well, this. You like that?
Yeah, I think you're winning on the fashion stakes. They're all dressed in sponsors head to toe. You're looking good. What did you think of your football performance?
Well, it was enough to get some money raised. And I'm not so good in football, obviously, but enough to make 2 goals.
With the help of famous names from football and Formula One, the ball raised over £56,000 for charity. But even with tickets at more than £300 each, you can't control the weather. So it's time to move inside. Tracy and Robert, newlyweds, nice to see you here. What do you think of this tonight?
Well, it looks amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's quite similar to where we got married, hasn't it?
Oh, look at you two.
And lots of free champagne as well, which you can't complain about, you know.
Chris, what do you think of this evening? Is this how we should do sport in this country?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've actually been to Silverstone for the last few years, but I haven't been to the Stowe Ball before, and it is quite amazing. And it's the first time, for example, we just had our first course, and Rolls Royce came up and a girl started singing, and everybody rushed to the dance floor. Silverstone has always got a little bit of razzmatazz. This ball has turned out to be a real success over the last number of years, and I know you've just been speaking to Krista Berg, and you can't beat the Irish influence here, because half the ferries are full with Irish and Jordan fans, so that's nice too.
So whether it's a one-man tent or a huge marquee, everybody enjoys the Silverstone experience. I've had a great time here tonight, but unfortunately the drivers have left without me. What's a girl to do? Home, James.
Could always row her home, couldn't he, I suppose, couldn't they, James Cracknell? Now then, Jenson Button. What about his Silverstone experience?
I was just fantasising about being in the back of a camper with Beverly Turner.
Steady, Larry.
Hold on a minute, the old ticker's going up there a bit, isn't it?
So he's got his T-shirt on.
I thought you had that vacant look in your eye again.
I've been saying to Jenson...
do that with your hands as well.
I've been saying to Jenson Button all season, Jim, look, you're going through a bad time now. You're 21 years old. You made your point last year with Williams. Jenson Button is a jolly good driver. He is a potential world champion. All he needs is the right infrastructure. He's got the right infrastructure with Benetton, but he hasn't got the right car, and it doesn't look as though he's going to have it this season. But hopefully he'll get the bad experiences behind him. Renault own Benetton. They've got to make it work. He's got next season. And the season after that, they'll all be after him, and rightly so.
Yep, Murray, OK, it's another tough experience for Jenson Button, 15th today in the Benetton. But away from the circuit, well, Jenson has just got to keep on keeping those sponsors happy.
I do like using a helicopter. You do need it because the time that you have is so small. It's a great way of traveling, I love it. It's fantastic, I love being in the air. I used to hate it, absolutely hate it. PlayStation told me that they wanted some input, so I thought I'd go out there and give as much input as I could. I'll tell you what the best bit about this game is the helmet movements, which is a big thing. Yeah. It's great, it's fantastic. Yeah. Sometimes when I play a game, obviously because I drive the real thing, it's not much fun because it's so jerky on the steering, but it seems really, really smooth, it's good. Yeah.
You just put in a lap time of 1 minute 19 there on a Nürburgring. How does that compare to the lap times that you would normally do on Nürburgring in the Benetton car?
In the Benetton, in qualifying, let's not talk about qualifying, it was a bit of a disaster this race just gone, but my best lap was an 18.6, I think. Oh, 18.0. You got to try and beat that now.
That's beatable.
Yeah?
That's beatable. I'm sure Steve could put in a 1:16 here.
I think the best bit about it was me thrashing the people that actually made the game. I enjoyed that quite a lot. I like this game. I love things that I can win at. It's really cool. So you're the genius, you're supposed to be really good at this.
Oh, I never said that.
flying, you can relax so much. It's the only time really you can relax, away from everything, everyone, is on a flight. That's why I love the Grand Prix outside Europe, because, for example, it could be a 10-hour flight, and I sleep all the way. They make me suits and they give me clothes to wear all the time, which isn't bad, is it? Come on. So the extra tux I was getting fitted is for this weekend, I bought this evening, plus obviously other events. I really, really enjoy dressing up and things like that.
That's fine,
Yeah,
just
I like
shape
that.
it on the waist.
I like the wet shape. Excellent.
Working out in the gym, it can really, really help you mentally as well as physically. My physio comes to every race with me. We have one for the race and one for testing. I do a lot of work on my back at the moment because at the start of the season it wasn't the best thing in the world, so we've had to do a lot of work on that. We did a test last year at Hungary. I mean, it was very warm, but I lost 2.5 kilos of fluid during the race. It shows how much you lose, and you know that's a big percentage of your body weight, which isn't good. Goodwood's great, but it is such a long day for us. It's very, very important for all the manufacturers, I think. It's good to be here and, you know, to be able to help out and get the crowds pumping and enjoying it. It was great when I went up in the old Renault. The 1902 Renault was great. And it does about, I think it'll do 70 miles an hour, I think. Now I've got nothing to do after this for another hour or so, and then I've got the prize giving. So it should be good, and hopefully I won't get away too late. I've got a flight to Monaco tomorrow morning. Time to go home now and recharge my batteries, go to Monaco for a couple of days, and then the big race, British Grand Prix. I love Formula 1 and I love everything with it, but the main thing is I want to win.
And about winning, I think he would settle for a World Championship point right now. Before the race, you'd have heard us talking to Ross Kemp, working this afternoon in the Jordan pit. See how he got on.
Ross, not the best of days for the Jordan team, but how was it for you?
Oh, from my point of view, it went very, very well. But I mean, obviously, there's a massive disappointment inside the camp. You know, where we were seeing before the race, we really were hoping that we'd get a podium position, get some points. So we're all kind of like rather disappointed, really. And for me, I mean, this is the last opportunity I'll ever have to do something like this. So it would have been really nice to have had a win or something, or a podium at least. But that's motor racing, as they say.
You're really feeling it, aren't you? You must have become a real part of the team.
Oh, very much so. You know, they were really happy for me that I didn't screw up today. You could tell that everyone was smiling at me, giving me thumbs up. To say I feel emotional, probably over the statement, but yeah, I feel mixed emotions, really. I feel relieved that I got through it, but also sad that I'll never ever do it again in my life, and also kind of very sad for Jarno. And obviously, you know, I wish, you know, Heinz could have got a better position as well. So, you know, I just think, personally for Jordan, I just wish we'd done a bit better today.
Tell us about that stop. How did the ticker stand up to it?
The ticket was going. I think it's just something short of 100. So basically, I was running a marathon, even though I was standing still. I think I was in the last 10 miles of a marathon. It happens so quickly as well. I mean, obviously that's the idea, that it happens quickly. But when you're there, I mean, you see the car approaching the pit lane, it comes in at a distance, and before you know it, it's next to you. And obviously, because you practice and practice and practice, you kind of like disengage your brain and do what you've been told to do. And it happens so quickly that by the time you've thought about it, it's gone.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed your time with the team. Don't stay away too long, will you?
Well, I'll try not to. If they invite me back, I'll be here tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen, but I've had a wonderful time. I mean, the whole crew from Eddie downwards been absolutely superb to me, and so's everybody at ITV.
Good commercial. See the full-length feature in a couple of weeks' time at Hockenheim. Tony, you worked in those pit crews, and a bit of admiration there for the boy, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are no greater highs or lows, I think, in motor racing. In a sport, you can be up 1 minute and down the next. Thing is, we'd be working all nighters, maybe repairing crashed cars and things, and Murray would come round in the morning and say, chirpily, well, everything all right with the cars, lads? And we're all sort of eyes down. But then you've got to prepare for pit stops. Then the car goes out early. Then you've got to start packing it all up, and you've got to keep the boys' morale as high as you can, because you know you've got to work tomorrow and prepare the cars, you know, for Hockenheim in 2 weeks' time. So it's tough. Big troughs and big highs. Was that a tear then, Murray?
Now, Murray, well, you're going to see a few banners of yours in a couple of minutes' time. The banners have been going up around Silverstone. I feel sure you would want to say something to the people here who've wanted to say something to you, and you can't get round them all. Go on, string a few words together for us, could you?
I wasn't expecting this, but yes, I would like to. You can only do what you do in this life if you've got support from people. I've been at the sharp end of Formula One for 52 years now, commentating. But I've only been able to commentate it because I've had, if I may use a rather emotional word, the love and respect of the British public. I have revelled in every second of it. I'm not stopping because I want to, I'm stopping because I think the time has come for me to do so. And I will hand the baton on with some enthusiasm, but you haven't quite seen the last of me yet.
I know you haven't. You've got a few more races to go for us as well. And here we go. The banners. Commentators one thing, retiring is another. Goodbye, Murray. Sorry to see you go, go, go. As we all are, Murray. Now, Murray's minted. Best wishes. Commentating one thing, retiring is another one. A little familiar theme. Go, go, go. They've gone some work in these, haven't we? And this is the winner. Formula One needs you, Murray. Okay, that's our winner today. Well done on that. Right then, now your chance to win the latest British sports car. If you've been paying attention over the next, or the last 3 hours, 20 minutes, you'll have no problem with this question. Who won last year's British Grand Prix? A. Michael Schumacher. B. Mika Hakkinen, or C. David Coulthard. A. Michael Schumacher. B. Mika Hakkinen, or C. David Coulthard. The winner of last year's British Grand Prix. First prize, a new MG ZR car. Day for two at Thruxton to drive new MG saloons. 10 runners-up, a day for two at Thruxton to drive the new MG saloon. And there it is, the new MG ZR. 09069 51 50 50, 09069 51 50 50. Lines closed midnight, July the 24th. More details on our website. It's coming pretty soon, you know. The new ITV Sports channel is right around the corner. Be sure to join us for the highlights at 11:15 here on ITV tonight. Repeated ITV2 tomorrow at 7. As we've been saying, next port of call, German Grand Prix, a couple of weeks' time, qualifying from 11:30 on the Saturday, the race live, pre-race show from 12:05, highlights at 11:50, repeated ITV2 on the Monday at 7. There we are. Tony, thank you very much indeed. Murray from Silverstone, thanks a lot. You've got a few more to go though, haven't you? Okay. Got to be the end of David Coulthard's World Championship dream. Mika Hakkinen is best of British for the very first time. Bye-bye to you all.
You know, I'm sure he sees it that he had the lane, and I see it that I had I was ahead, so I felt I could keep the lane. And ultimately, it's just one of those racing incidents, which is unfortunate to happen. You know, you get a close call, and sometimes drivers come together.
Was it that in winning the championship?
Yeah, a lot can happen. You know, we've still got to wait and see what the outcome of this race is.
Very special indeed. It's great to drive for the team, which is British team, and in front of the British fans. Everybody was cheering up in a big way in the grandstand. It was a good feeling.
Luciano Berti, a short race, your engine blew.
Yeah, unfortunately we had an engine problem. I don't know yet what was it, but for the last 2 laps I was losing power and suddenly the engine stopped. So
tough luck. See you next time.
A slight sign indication of how hard he's trying. 1.87 seconds is all that separates Michael Schumacher from Juan Pablo Montoya.
Jarno, actually a very short race. What happened on the way to the first corner there?
well, I had a very good start and I was next to David by the first corner. Unfortunately, I don't know if he didn't see me or just closed the door, and so it was a shame because I couldn't find any more space to avoid the accident.
Just a racing incident?
Yes, probably, yeah, but you know, when you are outside, probably you have to think about how you move, because the guy inside cannot find any more space to avoid the accident in case you close the door.
Very bad luck, thanks.
Jordan?
Jarno, we didn't get clear.
I'll get him in 2 seconds. David, just before you go in, much shorter race than intended. I've just heard Jarno truly say that you must have closed the door on him or something. How did you see it?
Well, you know, 2 into 1 doesn't go, and although Jarno was on the inside line, he made a better start. I had track position because I was slightly ahead, so I felt that the corner, in terms of us doing it at the correct speed, was mine. And then when I turned in, he was still there. So, you know, I'm not going to do a Jarno bashing session because, you know, he obviously saw it from one point of view and I see it from another. But ultimately, if 2 cars come together, it does neither of us any good.
And what was the damage to your car? Why have you had to stop?
Rear suspension was broken and then it let go coming into Priory.
So that's absolutely a major blow to your championship aspirations?
Only if Michael finishes.
OK, David, tough luck.
Bobby Rahal, Pedro stopped twice in 2 laps. What was the problem?
The electric motor and the new fuel rig failed, so we didn't get fuel the first time around.
Isn't that an FIA problem?
It's a problem.
Thanks a lot.
Ralph, what happened? Ralph has just run away. Ralph. You see that?
It's a well-known song, Three Wheels on My Wagon. What happened there, Paul?
Just to come off. I mean, we've seen it on the replay. There's no damage to the car whatsoever. Full credit to Fernando for getting back on 3 wheels.
So this is a wheel nut failure or not tightened up enough, or?
We'll obviously have a good look afterwards, but there's clearly no damage to the car, to the hub, so for whatever reason, this parted company, glad to see nothing happen, no one hurt.
No worries, thanks, Paul.
Stuck behind it, even though he's a lap down anyway, down in 9th place.
Now, Jack Villeneuve has finally cleared Giancarlo Fisichella, so there's just daylight now between Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 7th place.
3 seconds worth of daylight is the gap. I don't see how he's going to be able to catch them before the end, because there's just not.
And you're back with us at Silverstone, where Mika Häkkinen, a 10-to-1 outsider, has won the British Grand Prix for the first time, followed home by Michael Schumacher, the German, cruising towards another world title. Rubens Barrichello is third. That's his best ever in Britain.
It's great to win it here, obviously, because McLaren is a British team. It's important and really great for the mechanics to get this result over here. So I'm sure there's a great atmosphere in the team at the moment, and everybody's very happy.
You didn't seem to be pushing as hard as normal today. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, at some stage of the race we knew there was no chance to get Mika back. There was nobody to push us, so all we had to do is drive a safely race and get the 6 points on our account, and that's what we did to some degree. On the other side, the balance of the car didn't allow me to push because I was several times close to find myself on the wall or in the gravel bed, and I didn't really want to end up there.
The car never felt the way when we tested here, and we know there is a small problem, but we couldn't just solve the problem. And you know, at the end of the day, second and third, it's good for everything, I think.
You're about 40 points ahead now in the championship. Can you relax yet?
37, and I can't relax.
Confirmation then of the result of the British Grand Prix for you. Mika Häkkinen 10 out of 10, Michael Schumacher second, Barrichello third, Montoya fourth. He'd have wanted to have finished higher than that. And then the Saubers of Räikkönen and Heidfeld. And that means the gap between Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard is now 37 points. 60 still available for the winners in F1 2001. Rubens Barrichello back in front of Ralf Schumacher. Häkkinen straight in at 5, and Montoya scored 3 points today. Meantime, in the constructors, Ferrari have a 52-point lead. Williams remain best of the rest behind the big two. Räikkönen and Heidfeld both scoring to keep Sauber in fourth. Tony Jardine, lots of people here will say the race was ruined from them when Coulthard was bashed at the start.
Well, I'm afraid it was. I mean, a whole mass of support here for Coulthard in his title bid, and it was already slender, and now it hangs by a thread, unfortunately. After this incident during the start, Schumacher gets away well, Häkkinen matched him. Incredible rocket of a start from 8th to 5th from Montoya. There's the squeeze. That was the touch there on the inside, as Trulli and Coulthard made contact. That was actually Panis going off with touch building up. And here is Coulthard emerging from the pit lane exit, where he'd spun onto the inside. Meanwhile, Schumacher's gone, Häkkinen's gone, Montoya up to third. Look at this. David Coulthard has no option but to go for it. He's got to go for that championship fight. And Trulli, of course, is going for glory with a great grid position with Jordan, and they touch, and that's a racing accident.
A racing accident, and no surprise when David Coulthard's race ended very prematurely.
Damaged suspension, unfortunately, Jim, there. He had radioed in, but the car went up very, very dangerous to carry on with cracked components. We saw earlier in the year, and there's Ron Dennis thinking, where's my man gone? We knew there was a problem. Earlier in the year, if you remember when Montoya tangled in practice with Villeneuve, and Villeneuve's car broke 3 laps later, I think Coulthard was very lucky that didn't go on the hanger straight at 190 miles per hour. It could have been a lot worse than that.
We saw Ron Dennis there. He was pretty critical about Ferrari's tactics. Would you agree with him?
Yeah, I think what he was saying was that they weren't really spoiling for a fight. You didn't come out and really, you know, take the gloves off to us. That's what it was about, but I think it was a conservative strategy because it was about preserving this evolutionary engine that they got in, see if it could go to the distance, tyres, etc. They were out for points.
You put 2 people in the top 3, though. That's a decent response, isn't it?
I think it's fabulous. You know, okay, McLaren have got the hat-trick of wins, but there they were flanked by the two Ferrari guys yet again.
Looking for exciting moments in the race. We saw a good battle between Heidfeld and Heinz-Harald Frentzen, didn't we?
2 boys from Mönchengladbach, and it's great because here's the young, you know, 26-year-old, and he's up against it, the 30-something. Let's be polite to Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who's had a bad season. But notably, these 2 guys, although they were dicing for 7th here, Jim, they've both had big accidents this year. And Frentzen missed Monte Carlo because he bashed his head in Monte Carlo and he missed Canada, if you remember. And in Canada, Heidfeld had that big accident and bashed his head against the barrier as well. But they're both, it's nice to see them both back in action.
What are your feelings about Mika Häkkinen's victory? Because you've been reasonably critical about the Finn.
Well, you know, he should have won in Spain, and, you know, the gearbox and the clutch let him down at the end. I think he's had some very lacklustre performance. He's only prepared to fight if the car is in really good fettle. That's my view. Unlike Michael Schumacher, whatever the situation, the 32-year-old is still very, very hungry. The 32-year-old Finn here, look, he's happy as Larry. The moment it doesn't go right, he's down, he's glum, it's reflected in his driving performances. You need consistency.
Tony, thank you very much indeed. We shall return in a couple of weeks' time. We go to Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix with Michael Schumacher looking in great shape, qualifying 11:30 on the Saturday. Extensive pre-race build-up from just after midday on the Sunday. Highlights just before midnight, repeated ITV2 on the Monday at 7 o'clock. Right then, Mika Häkkinen wins the race, but no doubt here about the star of the British Grand Prix in 2001. That's Murray Walker. A very emotional weekend for him, saying his goodbyes to Silverstone. Good night to you all.
Thank you all very much. I've had 52 wonderful years. The best of them have been at the British Grand Prix, at Silverstone and at Aintree and at Brands Hatch. You can only do so much as an individual, but if you've got the love and respect of the people that you're talking to, it makes it a very easy job, and I've loved every second of it. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Foster's is www.itv-f1.com.